to Knoxville, don't be late. Baker's Live, it's gonna be great. June 5th and 6th, mark your date at Dollywood, we'll celebrate. Meet Baker and more cool friends, live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. Rides, fun, and meet and greet. Baker and pals, the crew's so sweet. Get ready for laughs, cheers, and thrills. Knoxville's the place, it's giving chills. Meet Baker and more cool friends. Live show magic that never ends. Come to Dollywood, feel the vibe. With great people there, it's gonna be a ride. June 5th and 6th, don't miss the fun. Meet Baker and friends, it's second to none. Baker and friends, it's second to none.
Good. Welcome back. 80s Music Man is a YouTuber now. 110 subscribers. I lost 30. Can you send some my way? 2 videos, gaming related. Interesting. But please send some subscribers my way. I'm losing subscribers. I need some Jesco and Mammy White. I don't know what that is. I just used whatever stock photo they had. That's weird. Bluegrass is fun music. I actually good pickup because I asked Suno maybe to do some bluegrass music because you promote the jib. Did you take the jib? I think we have a retard in chat. What? You said you took it. What? Why are we talking about something that is 3 years back that I didn't have a channel at that time. I promoted that people should go out and get something when I didn't have chat. I think all medical decisions are some you should make with your own conscience. I don't care what kind of vaccinations you take or you don't take. That's a personal choice. Well, En, to, tre, fire, fem, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, 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 no drama. No, no drama. No, no drama. Llama. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, no drama. Llama. YouTube. No, no drama. No, no drama. No, no drama. YouTube. Llama. Llama, llama. Llama, llama. No, no drama. Llama. YouTube is a bad place when we argue and we make the drama. No, 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 no drama, llama, la. Hey everyone, welcome back to the afternoon in the Natalie Cochran case, where we will see the cross-examination of the state's last witness, the lead investigator in the case. It's going to be interesting to see if the defense can he had a lot of assertions, a lot of I believes, and a lot of, I investigated. I don't know how much proof it was. I still think it will work with the jury. As I said earlier, I think she has an 85, maybe 90% chance of being found guilty right now, which I would believe was a mistake. But we've seen a lot of cases on this channel, and most of the time, the jury will find people guilty no matter what is really presented in court. Check my email. Well, I'll do it when I have time. First of all, who are you? Second of all, I don't discuss my medical history. Third of all, I don't give any medical advice on this channel. So I think you are on the wrong channel. Maybe you should go find the right channel. Thank you for stopping by. Every view counts. And I like that you write in chat. Engagement helps me in the algorithm. Bum, 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 bum. No rants. No. I for one, absolutely do never rant. I'm just weird how people have so much time and so little to use it on. But I can't put that on Twitter because that's apparently a violent call for violence. I do like the Drama Llama song, and it's more and more needed because oh my effing f, there's a lot of drama going on the YouTubes. Why do people not just? In Denmark, we have a concept that's the pyt knap. That's the so what button. We use that whenever someone says something ridiculous and you don't really need to get into it, you just hit the pyt button. Yeah, that's fine. And you move on. You don't have to do 5 videos yelling about something. It probably won't fix anything because they'll just make 5 videos saying the opposite thing. Hey, Rachel. Who else hikes with llamas? I don't hike with a llama, but if you're here this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you might be able to win a Lego llama because I will be having my birthday giveaway stream this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be giving away Lego, chocolate. I found a lot of candy in my cupboard. I'm probably going to give that away as well. So if any of that have any interest to you, subscribe to the channel, show up Saturday, and we'll figure out what hashtags we need to put in the chat to win this one. Probably going to be llama related. Do llamas attract bears? Do they live where there's bears? Well, and if you don't have the ability to get along, then get away from each other. Let me tell you a big secret, Holly Mac. And then I'll only tell this to you. You and I, there are YouTube creators I don't like. Do you know what I do? I just don't interact with them. I don't go on Twitter and say, oh, that was a stupid take. Did you see Valhalla yesterday? Oh my God. He said the black goat is the most aggressive. No, it's the brown one. He's always wrong. No, I don't do that. I just don't engage with them, because if you don't feed the fire, people just go away. Pit. It's very easy to just it doesn't matter. YouTube isn't real. People are stupid. Yeah, and apparently my name all of a sudden got dropped in the middle of it. I was like, what? What did I do? Don't know the drama? Well, I don't want to bring it up here because it's stupid. A Lego llama. It is a little cutie. Yeah, that's not that too bad. We keep llamas to scare away bears and predators. Oh, I didn't know that one. Well, again, there's some people I don't see either, because I also hit the block button. Because maybe it's kind of like in a relationship. One person might be more into the other one, and then she claims that she likes you and she'll ghost you. And you keep sending all those Snapchats and she never responds. That's what happens. What did I don't know. I do stuff all the time as well. I just don't respond to it. I don't care. Oh, Marissa's having a good day. People are yelling on the internet, and it's obvious Baker's fault. Hey, my mom used to blame me for everything, so why not everyone on the internet? Hey, they have a stable income, at least until they hit like 22, 23 years old. So that's a good choice, Tim. They have those weird buck teeth in the lower jaw. Yeah, you changed her to a rich woman. But no. For those of you who weren't here this morning, the state brought in their last two witnesses. The second one is still on the stand. The first one was a medical examiner, or a forensic pathologist. Let me get it right so I don't get any complaints. Who they brought in to look at the case again to prove that it was insulin poisoning. He didn't find any physical evidence. What he used was a chart from the hospital, a chart that Dr. Krieger, I think her name was yesterday, said had at least one wrong data point in it. If it has one, why can't it have two? But he said it was clearly insulin because there was no other reason why it could have been. And I don't really understood why it couldn't have been anything else. But again, he couldn't tell when or how it was administered. Then we had the lead detective who stumbled more or less over the, she probably unalived him because he was about to spill the beans on the Ponzi scheme. No evidence that he was in contact. He claimed there was some email attached, some attachment to an email. They didn't show it. And he showed some text messages 4 months before that allegedly, even though it was her writing his family that they had some problems with the funds. So maybe she kept him in the dark. Maybe she didn't keep him in the dark. But again, there's no proof that on that day or the day before they did the Handelson thing and said, I'm going to call the bank and figure out what's going on. No evidence of that. They were going to meet with a bank and they canceled that meeting, and that's the motive. But she kept trying to bounce checks off that bank's months after he was dead. So, and that banker seemed more annoyed that they canceled the meeting than anything. He seemed like he was insulted that they used his bank for financial crimes. I don't think it's a strong case, but I still think that unless they really beat him back now on cross, they will find her guilty.
All right. Are there any matters that we need to discuss at this time out of the presence of the jury?
Your Honor, there was a witness the defense proposes to call. It was not on their witness list. We've had an informal discussion as to the substance of her testimony, and we'll just proceed with that.
So
but it's not on the defense witness list.
No problem.
No problem.
Okay, good. Anything from the defense?
Well, maybe you had some
bring in the jury back.
Not angry anymore.
It was suggested by the prosecutor that perhaps you could somehow make a statement to the jury that we were doing the best we could. If we had delays, it was not intentional, something along those lines.
And that would apply to both sides. The court made a comment that the jury is concerned about the pace.
Okay.
But in fairness, I think everybody's tried to get witnesses here. It's just not as easy as it.
No, you have been doing a really bad job at getting your witnesses there. Marissa, can you find the link to 80s Music Man OG? Because he apparently has a YouTube channel now, and we can promote it a little bit. I don't follow it, so... Oh, she found it. But still, please share it. Hey, little D, how are you doing? Hope you don't have too much snow, or should I come keep you warm? If you want to 80s Man, what's your channel about? Gaming? If anyone is into gaming, I don't know if he plays online or he just do videos, talk about gaming. It's probably the best gaming channel out there right now. Or maybe the second best, I don't know. But if you're into that kind of stuff, please go give him a little look-see and maybe give him a supply sub.
Members of the jury, as you've seen over the course of this trial, we've had some technical difficulties. Happily, we don't have any now. We're ready to go forward. But I just wanted to explain to you further that in terms of modern technology, I'm a dinosaur. I know very little about it, and I rely upon others to make my way for me. Please do not hold it against the attorneys. Both sides have been working as hard as they can to get everything straightened out. We just have outdated equipment in this courtroom. Believe it or not, the equipment was installed in 2010 and 2011, which in modern day's time makes it obsolete. And not only that, it's worn out because we use it quite a bit. If you can hold it against me, and I've got broad shoulders and I don't really care, but please don't hold it against either of the attorney sides, because they're truly working as hard as they can to present this case to you in the most efficient and streamlined manner. With that, we will continue, and I believe we are down to
Pure Blood, thank you so much for participating. I think you need to go away now, maybe grow up a little bit. Marissa, would you do me the honors? Take me home, country road, Eastern Denmark is the place I love the most. We don't have no mountains, mama, but I still like the coast.
the cross-examination of Lieutenant Bledsoe, Mr. Victor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bledsoe, first of all, I'm going to ask you whether you yourself lost any money or assets by the Ponzi scheme of Mr. and Mrs. Cochran.
No, I did not.
Okay. So you have no personal interest, financial interest in this case whatsoever?
No, I do not.
Okay. Now, I will start with a couple of questions that the prosecution asked you. And
Haters.
if I may I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
I don't know, is that time of the month or something?
I'm gonna hand the witness what's been marked the state's exhibit number 1.
Let me give you a good advice, 80s. Instead of trying to rather build up a little bit of a backlog, and then you can release it. If you're not going to be a live streamer, it's better that way. And you can do it on your own time and have a few in the books, and you can plan it that way.
And you recognize that document?
He could be saying, "No, Mr. Bond, I want you to die."
That exhibit.
Yes, I do.
Now, in response
Hey, Haley Mouse.
to the state's question about who appears on the document, you responded that only the defendant, Natalie Cochran, appears on the document, right?
As the defendant in the case, yes.
And that document is actually the judgment in federal criminal trial against Natalie Cochran.
Yes, that's what it says.
And you made some comments about Michael Cochran not being involved in that federal trial, right?
Yes,
In the context of this document.
correct.
Well, that document was entered in 2021, right?
Yes,
Is it true that Natalie Cochran was indicted on September 25th of 2021? No, I'm sorry, 2019.
that sounds accurate,
That
yes.
sounds right.
Let me interrupt and ask Mr. Selden if we need to call Dr. Banerjee. She's not on the line now. We disconnected her during lunch.
No, Your Honor, I sent her a text message and she's not intending to listen to testimony.
All right. And I apologize, Mr. Victor. Please continue.
So it shouldn't surprise you, Mr. Bledsoe, that Mr. Cochran's name is nowhere there. He's been dead for half a year, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So if you say that his name didn't appear in this context of this federal indictment and judgment against Natalie Cochran, the federal government had absolutely no reason to indict a dead person, right?
That's correct.
And no reason to prosecute a dead person, right?
Yes,
But if you look at the page I don't know, there's, if I may indicate to you, There's a forfeiture proceeding there, isn't there?
I'll have to see it.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Sure.
Ba, 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 da, ba.
Oh, page.
Oh, Pixie, that's not a lot.
Page 14 of the state's
This
one.
is gross.
There is a page dealing with the forfeiture of the assets of the defendant, right?
It appears that way, yes.
But those assets are the same assets that Mr. and Mrs. and Mr. Cochran had together, right?
Yes, I read them. It's yes. Yes. Hey, Sky Bell.
It appears so, yes.
Okay, I may retrieve the exhibit. Yes, sir. And would it be fair to say, Mr. Bledsoe, that the federal government, from the inception of this case, oh, by the way, let me ask this, right? I take it from your testimony on direct that you were the officer in charge of the murder investigation, right?
No, I don't think that's accurate.
Who was above you? Who ran this investigation?
It was a joint investigation.
Well, you weren't some kind of underling, were you? You were on top of it.
Yes, Mr. Heisman and myself, along with the United States Secret Service.
Secret Service. Okay. Well, we
Secret Service. Secret Service. I love his voice. He's an annoying see you next Tuesday, but it's just cool when he's Secret Service.
are we to assume that you know, or you should know, as one of the leading officers of this case, all the aspect of this murder investigation? At least you should.
Well, should know most of
I
it.
think that's a accurate statement. I feel like I know the information well.
Okay. All right. So, in fact, the federal government had a lot of interest in this case from the standpoint of the monetary losses that the investors sustained in the Ponzi scheme case, right?
Yes.
And in fact, when this case started, you applied for a search warrant of the defendant's property, right?
No, that's, excuse me, that's not correct.
Well, did you ever apply for any type of search of any property that belonged to the businesses of Mr. and Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
What was that application for?
For a federal search warrant.
For a federal search warrant. And in that federal search warrant, isn't it true that, because we're now back to that business of Michael knowing or not knowing what was going on, isn't it true that you listed Mr. Cochran, first of all, as a partner in both corporations, or both businesses?
Yes.
You listed them, okay?
Well, he's retired now. I don't know if his title changed.
And In fact, you stated in the application for that search warrant that they were partners, owners, and, well, in fact, both of them, and operated technology management solution and tactical solution group. Did you say that?
Are you reading that directly from the search warrant?
Not from your application.
Yes, if it's in my application, then yes.
And then Michael Cochran was involved in work involving computers, network, and information technology for that company, right?
Again, if that's coming from the application, then yes, I would agree with that.
All right. So he knew, according to you, the daily operations of that business.
Didn't they take over the protection of the president not until early 19 something? It wasn't Harrison. Who was the one who got pew-pewed? I think they didn't start looking at having that job until then.
Right? Or both businesses, for that matter.
I didn't quite understand your question.
Well, if he participated in the operation of the business and knew everything about the computers and worked on the computers, well, let's strike that. A lot of that business was done online, wasn't it?
No.
Of the groups.
Which
The companies.
Which business? There were two businesses.
Well, two businesses. Both of them did a lot of business online, right?
Didn't they?
I don't know that I would characterize it as a lot, but they clearly did business electronically, is how I would describe it.
And you testified that Michael was actually working as a computer specialist, right?
Yes.
So isn't it true that he did a lot of business online for both of these companies?
I don't know the answer to that one.
You don't know how to answer that one. Okay? Then you know that Michael and Natalie were signatories to their bank statements, right?
Yes.
And both of them had the accounts
Was it Lincoln?
in First Community Bank, right?
Thank you.
I'm not sure exactly
I don't
which
think it
accounts
was-
you're referring to, but
Oh, let's say First Community Bank business account number 4 last digit 4272, opened on July 1st, 2013. Authorized signors being Michael B. Cochran and Natalie Cochran, whose address is blah blah blah. Well, they were both on the account of the business, right?
if you're referring to something from 2013, from memory, I can't
No,
recall
that's
seeing that.
well. Let me show you this document. Is this your application for a search warrant, sir? The last page, it has this where you can sign. This is the document we received from.
Yes, it is.
All right. So look at that page. Look at these accounts. Who are the owners of these accounts?
You want a specific account?
Yeah, let's go down the list. Let's see.
Don't do this, Mr. Police Officer. Don't try to obfuscate the questions. Just answer them. You know they were both on the accounts. Come on now. Just swing it. Say, well, she did most of the accounting.
What we can find out.
You want me to read them off?
Well, let's see the first bank.
First Community Bank, signors being Michael B. Cochran and Natalie P. Cochran.
Okay. And what's the account number on it? Last 4 digits.
0715.
Yeah, but it doesn't help that you then seem like you're trying to hide something. That's I don't like that defense dimension. Just answer and said yes. He was a co-signer on most because they were co-owning the business, but we saw no evidence of him being involved in the Ponzi scheme. That would be a way stronger statement instead of sitting there like a schoolboy. And yeah, as someone said, it's weird he doesn't look at people. I don't do body language, but he's looking down. He's not. The jury is up to the left of him. The state is front right. Oh, I shouldn't. That arm position has gotten some in trouble the last couple of days. The state would be there, but he's looking down, so it's not like he's trying to look at the state and get clues either. It's yeah.
The second account.
4274.
What bank is that?
First Community Bank.
I went on to
Okay.
keep a 5-hour
Is there
speech.
any other
or something
bank?
like that.
Not until the next paragraph, no, sir.
Well, let's go to the next paragraph then. What's that bank?
First Community Bank.
Okay, so that's another account where they're both owners of the account.
Yes.
All right, what's the next one?
City National Bank.
And these are all, by the way, the accounts for the business, right? Or the businesses. These are not some separate personal accounts, are they?
Yes, some of them designate that they are connected to a business, and then some just appear to be personal.
Okay. Yeah. First Community Bank, that was a personal account. But account number 4274 is Technology Management Solution. That's the account for the business, isn't it?
I don't know exactly what that was for, but it's what it on that document, that business name does appear in that paragraph. Yes.
This is a business account for the TMS, right? Yes or no?
I would assume so. Yes.
Okay. And then we have City National Bank, business account, 9705, Technology Management Solution, opened in February of 2018. Authorized signers being Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran. That sounds like a business account, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
City National Bank, account number 3517, Tactical Solution Group LLC. Open September 27th. Authorized signers being Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran, whose address is, etc., etc. That appears to be a bank account, right?
Correct.
Okay. Branch Banking and Trust, BB&T. Finally, I know what that stands for. BB&T.
I could eat a BLT right now. I haven't had one in a long time.
1402 account number for Tactical Solution Group, opened September 26, 2018. Authorized signers being Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran.
Correct.
That's a business account.
Yes.
Both of them, right?
Yes.
Another BB&T 1410. Technology Management Solution, DBA TMS, opened September 26, 2018. Authorized signers being Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran. That appears to be a business account, right?
Yes.
Then Morgan Chase Bank, 8236 account number for Tactical Solution Group, LLC, DBA, doing business as TSG, open December 19, 2018. Authorized signers, again, Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran.
So they signed that account or opened that account after he allegedly found out in September 2018 she was running a Ponzi scheme. That's interesting.
That seems to be another banking account. I mean, a business account
Yes.
for both of them.
Correct.
All right. And Michael Cochran,
If this is a daughter, please don't show her face on screen.
Based on that information, I would think so. Yes.
well, you were here all throughout the testimony. You saw the exhibits. There, Michael Cochran signed all these checks. right?
Yes,
For all of the employees and all of the people who rendered services on his behalf, right?
that's correct.
Okay. Then in your
Haven't
petition
seen anything.
for search warrant, you stated that during the Cochran's outwardly lavish lifestyle, Cochran's plural, houses, vehicles, philanthropic activities increased and became noticeable by friends, family, and the local community. You state the Cochrans were active in the community sports, acting as coaches, teams, volunteers, board members, and the Cochrans would supply uniforms, equipment, supplies for the Little League teams, etc., etc. Both of them, right?
And that's coming directly from the application.
There you go.
Then yes, that's correct.
Well, so they had a lavish lifestyle. We'll come back to that. January 2018, the Cochrans purchased a commercial building together, right? For $66,000.
Yes,
Where did that money come from?
that money came from investments.
Investments, right?
The Ponzi scheme.
And
And this is, in my opinion, the problem with the state case, and I'm not sure Colonel Klink is the right one to bring it out. He spent all of this money, ill-gotten gains, but he didn't know anything about it. He had no idea that they had money. But he's the guy who did the contracting. He should know how much they roughly would have in their account. Yes, you can be 5,000 off up and down, but you're not $66,000 off where you all of a sudden have $66,000 to invest in a house. I don't know how much a snowmobile cost, but or an ATV. They had a car for $56,000. He must have known.
then they purchased another, they purchased three buildings total, right? For which the money came from, two buildings, for which the money came from the investments, right?
I don't recall exactly how many, sir.
Okay. And then investors gave him between December 7, 2017 and March 2018, $230,000. Is that true?
Yes,
And you claim through your testimony that they used the money for the lifestyle. Both of them.
that's
right?
what the money at that time was being used for.
That's right. Now,
Just that all of a sudden the officer can't remember anything, and there's pretty good proof that Michael must have known because they were co-signing on all the bank applications. Especially one of them piqued my fancy was they opened an account in December 2018. The state implied that evidence showed that he already knew about the Ponzi scheme, and that's why she unalived him in September. So why did he co-sign on another bank account in December? Well, you should have a snowmobile.
you
now.
also state that the Cochrans claimed to have sold such high volume of firearms to the government that their firearm supplies and manufacturers rewarded them with the discounts up to 75% for Glock, Kimber, Ruger, Smith & Wesson. And the Cochrans never sold a gun to anybody or a firearm, right?
No, I don't believe that's correct.
Well, they sold some, but
Yes.
certainly not the volume that they claimed, right?
No, we knew that they didn't sell that volume.
Okay. And would you agree with me, sir, that Natalie Cochran knew absolutely nothing about firearms or weapons? in your thorough investigation of this case?
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for speculation. You can't speak to what the defendant did or did not know.
Oh, this is the whole case is about what the defendant knew.
I'll allow it. I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
Could you repeat that, sir?
Well, Natalie Cochran did not ever talk to you, or you have no evidence that she knew anything about armor, weapons, guns, firearms, military outfits. She didn't know anything about it.
That's not correct.
No, she knew intimately what the firearms were like, what she was dealing with, what she was selling. She knew that. Is
Yes.
that your testimony here today?
I wouldn't characterize it as how intimately or whatever words you used, but no, that's not accurate. She did have some knowledge of firearms and trying to negotiate firearms sales with the local police department.
Okay. But Michael was the man. He knew about the firearms. He knew about the tactical gear, right?
I used to be married to a lady who was in the infantry. Ladies can know about weapons as well. So just saying.
I don't know that. I never spoke to him about that.
Well, he was enamored with firearms, with weapons. True?
I don't know, sir.
Don't know that. Well, in the thorough investigation of this case, did you ever learn that Michael was indeed involved in the firearm business?
The information that I saw was that the defendant was trying to negotiate a sale of firearms with the Raleigh County Sheriff's Department, and there was information also that she was trying to negotiate a deal for a firearms sale with the West Virginia State Police, which was completely fictitious.
And Michael knew nothing about it. He who handles firearms, who made his, well, did you know that he was proud and advised everybody to watch the movie called Warlords about the firearms deals. That was one of his favorite movies. Did you know that?
Yes,
Is it a
I
good
believe the
movie?
name
I've
of the
never
movie is
seen it.
actually War Dogs.
War Dogs.
That was
Oh,
brought
I'm sorry.
to that was brought to my attention during the
Not
investigation.
up on my cinematographic gems, but that was something that Michael really loved because he was
Because she didn't have any guns and she didn't have any deals. She claimed that they had the deals coming in, so that's fraud.
enamored with firearms, and that's what he tried to establish his business in, right?
I can't answer that.
Can't answer that. Now, licenses, were they applied to both of the defendants' licenses for the business licenses? Were they in the name of Michael Cochran? Well, you investigated this case.
I'm trying to figure out which business you're referring
Well, any
to.
business licenses, were they ever signed or issued to Mr. Cochran?
I can't recall that from memory. If you have something you're referring to that I could view,
And I'm just asking you whether you recall.
no, I can't recall that from memory.
Now, is it true that at some point, Mr. Cochran commingled or participated in commingling the personal accounts and the business accounts?
I can't say that he did or he didn't.
Well,
But didn't
in
you do a
paragraph
forensic?
71 for your application for the warrant, the Cochrans commingled their day-to-day and personal expenditures in all of their business accounts.
Then
You
yes.
said that.
Okay. Yes.
So they commingle the accounts, so they wouldn't even know what is theirs, what is the business's. What is the investor's money? What is theirs, right?
I don't know if that's a fair assessment of that information.
Well, but if they commingle their funds, well, then one day when Mr. Cochran wants to pay for his, shall we say, lunch, and wants to pay by check, which is kind of outmoded today, but wants to pay by check, he doesn't know whether he's paying actually with the money from the investors or whether he's paying with his own money. Or does he know?
No, I wouldn't know how he would know which money it is.
Well, let's say that's the money that he received, let's say, from his parents for $44,000. And he puts it in his personal account or the commingled account. Wouldn't he know that that money is from the investors, i.e. his parents, and he cannot touch it because it should be in a separate account?
No, that money was given to the company for investments into government contracts through the Tactical Solutions Group business or the Technology Management Solutions business.
So how many times did Mr. Cochran actually receive the money from the investors himself? Here comes Johnny investor and says, Michael, here's a check I'm going to give you for the investment. How many times did something like that happen?
Again, I can't recall that from memory, sir.
Well, you don't know. All right. You cannot recall. And I'm looking at that form that you signed to, and the expenditure of that TMS or whatever, the two businesses.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, well, I don't know.
It's over $1,100,000 plus, $1,123,517.07 for all kinds of things. For the Toyota, that was their car. For getting some cash. Polaris. Horse trailer, earrings, easy loader, heating and cooling. These are the expenses that the TMS incurred over the years, and those were the expenses that you yourself claim came out of the illegal proceeds, right?
It came out of the business accounts.
Business accounts that they both controlled. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
He is cracking me up.
I'm sorry. Is this looking good for the state that they claimed, oh, she had the only knowledge and everyone is just withdrawn from their business account?
No.
Isn't it kind of standard when you get a business, you have a business account? If you need to get anything into your personal account, you have to subtract it from your business account and pay it out as either a salary or profit, because you'll be taxed differently. That's how we do it in Denmark. So I have a business account where if I buy this Lego, I'll buy it with my business account and run it through my business. But I don't buy lunch with that card because I know I can't tell my accountant, well, yeah, sorry, just write that off, because then I'll have to have tax on that from personal income. And wouldn't you know what's your business card and what's your personal card? I have different colors exactly to remember that I can't use that card for buying gas or a gallon of milk. This is only business. It's yeah, that's That's the thing. And if you have had a business for, was it 13 years, you know what's your business account and you know what's your fund account.
Yeah.
So to me, that seems like it's really hard for me to believe he had absolutely no knowledge.
Mhm.
And in fact, when the federal government finally looked at the harvest of your hard work, the federal government claimed that both of the defendants enjoyed the proceeds of the account, right? Or accounts. True?
Yes.
Yes. And then just happened that while the federal government was ready to indict them both in September of 2019, Mr. Cochran unexpectedly died, right?
That's not correct.
No? All right. You've been involved in federal investigation of the cases, sir, haven't you?
Of other cases?
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's the deal. When you do taxes as a married couple, you both have to sign many forms when you own a business. I know because my husband and I own a business and do taxes. This falls flat in your opinion. Thank you, Wrestler's Mom. Yeah, as a perpetual single, I don't know the trouble you see when you're co-owning. So yes, at least he would have seen all these massive incomes and said, but honey, we didn't do anything and we just earned $1 million. That's weird.
Mhm.
You're telling this jury that if there is ever a couple, husband and wife, who are cheating on taxes, let's say, or who are involved in some, money laundering or some other financial scheme, you are telling us that from your experience that the federal government would only investigate one and not the other? Is that your understanding of the
No, because he had passed away, so they didn't mention him.
federal investigation, sir?
It would depend upon the evidence that was set forth in each investigation. I've seen it go both directions.
You have seen the cases where the couples, married couples, are investigated in the
But was your husband a co-signer on the business? That's the difference in this case. They both own the businesses.
individually? You really have?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
I've conducted those myself.
And in fact, the federal government, you have no evidence to suggest, sir, that the federal government would not have indicted Mr. Cochran had he not been dead by September 25th of 2019.
No, I don't believe that he would have.
He would not have been indicted. Even though the federal government
That is BS.
Yeah.
was looking at all of his property that he enjoyed and had at his disposal and purchased with the proceeds of illegal transactions. You do not believe that he would have been charged with these offenses?
No, but I don't believe that there was evidence to support that.
No, just to the contrary. Would you agree with me that, as we have already heard in this court,
No, because they didn't start committing fraud till, I believe, 2016 or 17, and they had the business for a couple of years before that. And I think one of the businesses was set up especially to go for those money weapons contracts with the military. And I think when that started rolling, that's where the fraud kind of came into it, because they probably went to some investors and said, hey, we're looking this is lucrative and the world is a scary place and there's money out there and we can double your money in a year or something like that. And the problem when you maybe get one or two to buy on it, and you can keep rolling it and then paying the first ones off with the second ones, and then that's what goes wrong with all the fraud cases. It's probably a lot of them isn't intentionally to begin with.
This
Libby,
couple
Libby.
lived a lifestyle of the rich and famous. They had purchases amounting to literally a couple of $1 million, right?
I would say that's fairly accurate. Yes.
And that couple had purchases that were not some piddly little items. You know, when Mr. Cochran was buying Natalie a ring, he didn't buy a $500 ring. He bought a $14,000 ring, right?
Ooh,
I actually don't know who purchased the
what
ring
did it look
or a
like?
ring.
When he bought the real property, it wasn't some ramshackle affair somewhere in some holler somewhere. It was a big time property.
Actually, he wasn't able to complete transactions on property that he was trying to purchase because he couldn't complete the sale because the money was not available to do that, and he believed that it was.
I see. But he managed somehow to get himself a couple of motorcycles, well, several motorcycles, a couple of cars, including the antiques. He was somehow able to remodel his, $300,000 house, right? He was able to do all of this financially from his income that we still cannot determine.
He believed his income was coming from the proceeds of the legitimate business that he believed he operated, doing government contracts and receiving payment back from the government based on those contracts, which was not true.
Of course, you're in his head and you know what he was thinking. That's your testimony?
No, sir, I'm not saying that.
But that's what you said.
Yeah, you just said it.
No,
You
the
just
federal
said it.
government didn't take kindly to any of this. And the federal government asked for the forfeiture of all of that property, didn't it?
Yes.
And for that matter, the federal government asked for the forfeiture of assets.
No, they spent money. They spent over $1 million. They had 2 ATVs, two motorcycles, a Cobra replica car. I think she had a pair of earrings for, I can't remember, it's some crazy amount. They bought property, horse trailers. They were trying to build a hangar to his helicopter. So everything they bought,
They had multiple houses.
Yeah, they had multiple houses. They bought cash. It wasn't financed through loans. That's not what we've heard so far.
Well, let's start with the let's start with $523,343. And no, I'm sorry, it's the assets 523, 343, 361. What is it? $523 million?
That doesn't sound accurate. I'm
Well-
not sure what you're referring to.
Well, I show you the forfeiture
Yes.
that the federal government filed against the Cochran's. Can I approach?
Yes, you may.
I always suck in math. But would you please read this? The Cochrans listed their assets as how much?
Yes. I'm sorry. Listed as 522,091,571, and that was not true.
I didn't ask you whether it was true. It's in the federal forfeiture proceedings.
Yes.
And it was signed by the assistant U.S. attorney. You think she made it up?
No.
Somehow?
No.
Well, so they listed assets to the tune of $500 billion with a B, like boy.
They listed they had assets for $500 million, and the feds wanted to repossess that. How bad are the IRS in West Virginia if they have $500 million in tax, and no one really thought, yeah, probably have.
Mhm.
No, they weren't getting anything really, because they lied about all their contracts. It was investor money they were just running through and claiming, oh, we're gonna repay you when we get all these big contracts we have coming in. And I think that $500 million is actually a contract, but it was all lies.
$1 billion.
Yes.
Let's say, Mr. Bledsoe, that I'm coming home and my wife tells me our assets are $500 million today. Shouldn't I be surprised?
Yes, I would be surprised and
So
question.
Mr. Cochran looks at these assets that are listed. We have $500 million in assets. What the heck are we doing in West Virginia? We should be somewhere, I don't know, in Monte Carlo, some other place. $500 million.
Don't go to Monte Carlo. It's in France. Have you met French people? Come to Denmark. We can turn you
yeah.
$500 million into millions in no time with our tax system.
Yes, sir. And he didn't know about all these assets?
I don't know if he listed that or not. This document was filed in July of 2019 after Mr. Cochran's death.
Well,
Also, all of
these
them, that's
assets,
matter.
these $500 million, didn't. I mean, you know the saying, Rome wasn't built in one day. That $523 million did not go in the bank or wherever it was in one day, right?
No, that information came from documentation that the defendant had tried to use as part of the federal indictment in which he was charged.
Well, as we agreed before, my gal was a pretty bad girl, right?
My gal.
My client here. She was a fraud, right?
I'm not here to judge anyone, sir.
Okay.
Oh, you did before.
Now,
I like they are very open about she's being a fraud, because stealing money doesn't mean taking lives. I'm so confused how this cop knew everything, even wanted to make comments on things he is not qualified, but now knows nothing. You've been around long enough, Resto's mom. This is called defense dementia. You never remember anything when the other side asks you.
I just want to ask you a couple of questions in regard to your testimony here today. You said that you were surprised. You found it odd when my client told you that her husband used to inject himself with insulin, right?
Yes,
Especially that it was in the back, right?
that's correct.
And you found the word back somewhat objectionable, right? You found it odd.
Yes, it didn't seem like something that I expected to hear.
Or maybe she was just trying to be polite. Maybe she didn't want to use the word hip or leg, or maybe a good old word butt, or maybe, for that matter, the word that starts with an A and has 3 letters in it. Maybe she was just trying to be polite. And she said, well, it was in the back.
That's what she said, yes.
Yeah. That didn't influence, that did not really seem odd to you, did it? It
Yeah.
didn't,
Yeah.
it didn't seem odd that it seemed odd that he would inject himself with insulin?
It seemed odd to me, yes, because he was not a diabetic that I was aware of, and I had never heard of anyone injecting themselves with insulin for workout or
Never.
bodybuilding purposes. No, sir, I'd never heard.
Never. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Just we aren't idiot, and I've heard about it.
You testified on direct here that you found it suspicious that my client and Michael did not go to the meeting with that fine banker that just testified here a couple of days ago. You found it odd.
I'm not sure.
No, because they tried to shoehorn all of this in with him. So now they have to let him get out of this. So far, they haven't even been able to object outside of the scope because they brought all of this in, the injections in the back, the money, the schemes. They are within the same scope as direct was.
Understand your question.
Well, they were supposed to go and meet the banker, right?
Don't you hang out with credible people who, like girls that's bigger than you and stuff like that? That's where you learn stuff like that.
That's my understanding, yes.
But they didn't because Natalie was sick.
That's correct.
That's correct. And would it surprise you if you knew that the account wasn't even open? There was nothing to discuss about the account.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
And
That's
for
fake.
that matter, do you have any idea that Natalie went to the doctor not on the day when Mr. Cochran collapsed in his home, but the day before? Did you know that?
Yes, she went on the 5th and the 6th.
So she went there on the 5th and on the 6th. And she complained about all kinds of problems, bad enough for the doctor to give her a shot and give her medication, right?
I think that's accurate, yes.
Okay. So all of these shenanigans which you accuse her of, including not being able to go to meet the banker in Virginia and all of that, can be simply explained by the fact that she was ill or sick, and the doctor who gave her the medication pretty much told her to stay in bed. And she was really genuinely ill or genuinely sick. Wouldn't that be a fair explanation, sir?
I don't know what the physician may have told her. I know that Mr. Cochran was trying to continue that trip without her, along with Mr. Davis, if necessary.
And for that matter, did you know that Mr. Cochran himself didn't want to go without Natalie?
I believe he indicated that he would prefer that she go.
He indicated that he wanted to go with Natalie, and that's why he didn't go. Not because he had some suspicion that she was going to execute him that day, right?
No, he wanted to go to the Bank of America to try to find out why he was not receiving the funds that he thought he had been told that $1.4 billion was going to be deposited into that account after February the 1st.
Could it be that maybe because he bought himself a 1964 Cobra, there was no money in that account?
The Cobra, I believe, was purchased before there was any dealing with Bank of America.
Maybe because he bought himself a couple of nice motorcycles. That's why there was no money in that account.
And stop saying you know what he was thinking. You never talked to him.
Actually, I do know why there's no money in that account, because the basis for any funding coming to that account, as you heard from Mr. Nexon as well, was that it was supposed to be coming from payments for government contracts and returns.
Now
of
he
investments.
really want to talk about the contracts.
Were
Mr.
never
Bledsoe.
done, and there was no money ever coming.
Mr. Bledsoe, did you listen to that banker There was no account, was there? There was no account, was there?
I don't
They
know if
haven't
the, I don't know if
established
the
any
count
account.
was, that was the process. He explained, the way I understood his explanation is they were in the process of trying to open an account. And he had vetted the information that he was provided.
Mr.
by
Bledsoe,
I think he's looking at the defense tape because, or the state tape, because the jury should be in that direction, opposite of where he's looking. Maybe it's that. Yeah, he wanted a plane.
the defendant.
as we stand here today, as I stand here today, as you sit there, as you remember the testimony of that banker, there was no account. You can be in the process of doing something, but that doesn't make it necessarily so, sir. They had no account. True?
No, I don't think that's true.
Okay. You're telling us that they had the bank in Virginia already established, and they were ready to pounce on the banker in Virginia to figure out why there was no money there. Is that what it was? Is that your testimony?
That Michael Cochran was wanting to travel to that bank and meet with Mr. Nixon to try to find out why there was no money.
That's not the testimony from the banker. They were about to start a business relationship with the bank. They weren't about to figure out why there was no money on his account. That's what he testified. He was angry that they didn't show up because they were about to set up an account. They weren't coming to discuss why there was no money
In that account.
As the lead investigator in this case, show the jury any document that would establish that the account in the Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia bank was already in existence. Can you do that?
I can,
Yes or no?
as I'm sitting here right now, I can't.
No, you cannot do it because they needed what is known as wet signatures, right? The signatures in writing.
Yes, I remember that.
Many banks require that a person appear in person to open an account.
Yes, Michael Cochran had told the defendant that since she was sick, he would travel on and get that signature information and bring it back so she could sign hers as well. He was determined to get this done.
He
Why do
was
you know that
determined
from?
and yet he didn't go. Right? Okay. Now, that little bottle of the substance that you testified to was not insulin, that you received from Mr. and Mrs. Bolt. What was it?
I can't pronounce the name that the chemist from the FBI lab called it, identified it as.
Anaclophamine, if I pronounce it,
That-
I probably mispronounce it with my inflection anyway. So anaclophamine,
That was how it was labeled, but you asked me about the substance in the bottle, I believe, and
Okay.
that was identified to be
Well, that
something
was-
different than the label.
well, that was the substance to fight the waning testosterone, right?
I don't know what that's for.
Well, you investigated this case. You're claiming that my client killed her husband with a substance, and you would not be curious to know the effects of the medication that you just found?
Yes, that's exactly why we submitted it for testing.
Okay, well, so now you know that this substance is designed to, help the macho man, be a macho
Yes.
man, the testosterone.
The macho man.
He's a
be
funny
macho
guy.
man. He's
Right?
such a goofball.
I can't say that I know that personally. I can say that what I heard testified to here by the chemist, that would be the basis of my knowledge of that.
And
substance.
certainly that could not be the medication that killed this guy. because that medication makes a person combative, right?
Okay, Your Honor, he's asking him to testify as to medical knowledge that he has clearly stated he does not have.
And roids don't automatically make you aggressive.
You don't know what that medication is.
Sustained.
Right, fine.
I do have limited
Hold on, no
knowledge.
questions pending. You testified on direct that you believe that Natalie's statement concerning her cancer is false.
In the context of the time that it was being reported by her, I believe my testimony was that I hadn't obtained any evidence to support that.
Well, did you?
So now she does have cancer? What?
He didn't have evidence to support that she had cancer,
Yeah, but
so he's just
But-
assuming that she didn't have it.
yeah, but why is he, Jamie? If I was talking like this all the time when you ask me questions, would you feel like I'm a true
You
storm?
drive me nuts, and I would yell at you.
Yeah.
Did you get any evidence from Duke University?
I believe we subpoenaed, off the top of my head, I can't remember without reviewing it, but I believe we did subpoena some documents from Duke.
And did she have anything that resembled cancer?
I don't recall
You
that.
don't recall. Now, did you know that she first went to the Cleveland Clinic?
I remember references to the Cleveland Clinic in the text messages, but I don't know if she ever actually went there. I don't think we subpoenaed any documentation from Cleveland Clinic.
And do you know whether she was accepted or rejected there?
No, I do not know that.
And if she was rejected for such insidious purpose as lack of insurance, that still would not change the fact that she may have had cancer, right?
I can't answer that.
And if she then went to Duke, you don't know whether she had cancer or not. You're just speculating here.
No, I'm basing my answer off of documents I
By the way,
reviewed
how did you get into her medical records, sir?
with a subpoena.
With a subpoena? So which doctors did you subpoena for her medical records?
There were quite a few. I would have to see a list of those to actually recite them back, but there were several.
And you're testifying here today that she was, and at least from your surreptitious review of her medical records, that she is a model of health.
No, sir, I'm not saying that.
Well, what's wrong with her? What was wrong with her at that time?
The one thing that I do recall that I remember from that is that she was having treatment for some type of heart issue and a heart ablation.
Did you obtain the records from Mount General Oncology?
Again, possible, but I don't.
If they did, they didn't do a good job. They did just about as good a job as proving the case.
Just can't remember that
Well,
without
I mean,
having a list of them.
I think we all know what oncology.
The defense attorney isn't doing well because he isn't saying she has cancer or not. I think he's doing well because he shows this guy doesn't know anything really. It's always, but we see this because we watch a lot of trials and we notice stuff like this. The problem is, to the 12 people in the room, I really, I wish I could reach out to Lawyer Lee and see how is this landing, because it could work really well if the jury understands it, and like Wrestler's mom knows someone who runs a business, or anyone who can pick up how unsure he is on all his evidence. But it could also just be, oh, please don't hurt that poor man anymore.
means, right?
Did you say oncology?
Oncology, yeah.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that word.
Yeah.
He
That's
should.
one of the worst words that you ever want to hear. in your life, right?
Yes, it is.
That's a place that deals with.
Yeah, that's 1 a.m. my time, so I always sleep. But I should reach out to her again and hear if she might want to at some point. But I know she's busy, and people are probably, oh, why would she go on with me? I'm basically retarded.
Oh my
Cancer.
God, stop it.
With an illness for which there is no universal care, sir, right? And if that woman went to oncology, she wasn't there to ask for candy. She went there to ask for medical advice concerning a condition which may end up her life. True?
I don't know. I can't speak to those
And you
records
don't-
or a visit if I can't.
And you
see
don't
it.
know, yet stubbornly, you refuse to acknowledge that this woman may have had a condition of which you have no clue, no idea, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that based on the information that I had and was provided, I didn't see anything that indicated that.
I have reached out to her before, but I know it's kind of like when Burkhardt was in the Delphi case. Long days in court makes you tired when you then have to do your own stream, but maybe we're lucky. Fingers crossed. Jamie, cross your fingers.
They're crossed.
Thank you.
Did you ever submit it to any doctors for any review of
Congratulations,
Ms.
Haley.
Cochran's medical conditions? Or you just evaluated it yourself?
Chicken?
I don't believe I think the only records that we submitted to any doctors were for Mr. Cochran.
All right. I want to ask you a little bit about, you said several times that based on my investigation, remember saying that several times?
I do.
Well, who lived in Cochran's household in the year of, let's say, 2018?
I can't say for certain who actually lived in the household. I was never in their household.
All right,
in
let me make
2008.
it simple. Do they have any children?
Yes,
Did you interview any of these children?
I did.
However many children they had?
I did not.
You did not. Wouldn't that be an invaluable source of information?
Jamie, how far is it from West Virginia to Massachusetts?
I don't know. Like, is it like?
Do they
8
use the
hours?
same police academy?
I'm
We
guessing
didn't
3
see-
hours. Am I wrong, everybody?
We didn't see any evidence of testosterone use. Did you ask his kids? Nah. Didn't feel the need to.
12 hours. I was way off.
Far. Very
I
far.
cracked myself
Pretty
up.
far.
Yeah.
Not that far, Baker. They might. 12-hour drive.
There you go, Moni G. She's on my side. Listen, I don't know how long it takes to get anywhere. I know how long it takes to get to the end of my driveway and to the nail or the eyelash girl, to my sister's house, to my parents' house. Like, I don't, when it comes to like long drives somewhere else, I have no idea.
I think her name is Lawyer Lee. So I think it's the last name.
Concerning their
I think she
lifestyles,
went to Harvard.
drug consumption at home, health of their parents would have been, and these children are now, one of them is still 17, but one is 20. So a couple of years ago, they were still 15, 13, 14. You could have asked them all kinds of questions, but you didn't interview them. Did you?
No, we did not.
No.
You online, right?
Did you know, and I'm going to refer to these texts. Oh, by the way, let me ask you this. Do you have any idea
I am.
whether Michael Cochran was a dominant figure in the marriage? Or was it Natalie Cochran who was dominant in that marriage?
I can offer no observation on that either way.
If I told you that in August of 2000,
He hasn't been doing great on cross-examination. Let's just say that. They really didn't look into much, but don't care about it. Lee is her first name. Well, her name is Lawyer Lee. Lawyer must be her first name. That's just like Broken is my first name.
Yeah.
2018. The phone that Natalie Cochran had was actually taken from her by her husband. Would you believe that?
I don't know whether to believe it or not. I don't know the source of that information.
Would I, if I told you that Mr. Cochran controlled Miss Cochran's use of the computer, would you have any evidence to contradict that?
That he controlled her use?
Control the use of the computers at home.
No.
Would you have any evidence to contradict that Mr. Cochran actually had the phone that belonged to Mrs. Cochran for about 2 months before he even let her use it again?
I have no information about that.
And would you have any information to contradict the proposition that these messages that you played were actually sent by Mr. Cochran rather than Mrs. Cochran?
No, I don't believe that.
You don't believe it. All right. In your thorough investigation of this case, and since you have such knack for getting medical records, did you obtain the medical records of Mr. Cochran's?
Because on direct, he had all the answers based on my investigation. He could answer everything from his drug use to their money to whatever, her health. And now he didn't really look into much of it. Of course, he's answering questions that he knows he can't answer. It's his job to make him look as badly prepared as possible.
Yes, we did obtain several medical records for Mr. Cochran.
What happened to him in 2017?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, he had a back surgery in 2017. Do you recall that from looking at this?
Actually, I believe I recall that from hearing it here during this proceeding.
Well, you have any reason to doubt that?
Doubt that he had a back surgery?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. And I think we've established it already that on October 31st, Mr. Cochran went to the hospital with some mysterious conditions that couldn't be accounted for.
Yes.
And those conditions may have involved convulsions, maybe epilepsy, right? Whatever it was serious.
I recall that there were numerous suspicious, or I guess symptoms would be a better word, that were part of that. But my recollection of that is that there was no clear diagnosis.
That was my question. Did you hear about October 31st? Went to the hospital.
Correct.
Yes or no?
Yes.
And his conditions, and by the way, you knew from your thorough investigation of this case that Michael Cochran hated hospitals with an unbridled passion.
I wouldn't characterize that.
He hated hospitals. All right.
I can't say that I know that.
Did he want to stay in a hospital?
You knew a lot about him, though.
Yeah.
No.
No. But soon enough, on November 2nd, he was again in the hospital, only this time for 5 days, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And for 5 days, which hospital was it, by the way?
I don't know. I can't remember if it was Memorial or General, but it was Charleston Area Medical Center.
Not a bad hospital, is it?
It's fine, very fine hospital.
And these fine doctors there could not really determine what it was. They claimed there was a mold exposure and all of that, but he had the conditions that didn't have anything to do with mold, right?
Yes.
And those conditions, and we've been through it already on one examination of one officer. Convulsive epilepticus, so he may have epilepsy, right?
I think there was a whole list of things that might have
Yes, encephalopathy, which is what?
I don't know.
Okay. Respiratory failure, seizure, altered mental state, enlarged heart. Those are serious conditions, right?
Yes.
And he was vomiting. He had fever. rash, dizziness. Oh, urinary retention. He couldn't go to the bathroom. The sepsis could have set in. That's serious, isn't it?
Yes.
Chronic sinusitis. He couldn't breathe on top of that. Serious stuff. So he stayed in the hospital, and then when he came out of the hospital, isn't it true that he told everybody he was not going back? True or not?
I don't know. I have been told that, yes.
Yeah. And you knew that he was using supplements, right?
I don't know that. I was told that by the defendant.
Okay. Well, you did. You looked at his computers and all of that, right? Or their computers, his computers, when you did the search.
Yes, we did seize computers and cell phones.
Well, Mr. Cochran started in 2017, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, corresponding with the Advocare International. What was that company?
I'm not familiar with that company.
Well, maybe not too many people are familiar with it, detective, because that was one of the companies that may have provided him with the substances that the American government wouldn't want to know about. Did you check it out?
No, I did not.
Okay. How about, well, we know Amazon.com, KYDC LLC. He started that in 2015. What did he purchase from them?
What year was that?
2015. I think he started in 2015.
We wouldn't have looked at, it was been outside of scope, I think, of anything we were looking at.
Well, but yes, you're charging this woman with murder by poison, and you don't want to know what kind of substances this man had after you found two suspicious substances in their home?
Well, I knew the one suspicious substance, the enclomiphene citrate, well, the bottle labeled enclomiphene citrate. The defendant, the first time I interviewed her, told me that Michael Cochran had overdosed on that morning on the 6th, and that's what led to his condition, ultimate death.
Yeah, but you should know the full picture.
Well, we'll come to that in a second. You have no evidence, sir,
You can pick and choose.
that she injected him with anything. You don't have any of that evidence, do you? You don't have any punctures. You don't have any syringes. You don't have any of it, do you?
Haven't seen any punctures in
On his body?
No,
You don't have any syringes?
no.
No. And you also know, in your thorough investigation of this case, that Humalog, and you heard this testimony as you were sitting here today, acts in a delayed fashion, 15 to 30 minutes after somebody's injected. That insulin takes effect. Yes or no? You heard that. Yes or no?
I'm trying to remember what was testified to, and I don't want to sit here and try to repeat testimony, but I want to answer your question. That sounds consistent with what was testified to here earlier.
And so I kind of want to know, detective, if the events of February the 6th somehow comport with what you believe them to be. On the 6th of February, I submit to you that my client is alone in a house with Michael Cochran, right? In the morning.
At some time that morning, yes,
Sometime.
they both returned to the home and were there together alone.
Kids go to school. She goes to a doctor. He goes to a coffee place, Starbucks, and they're happily at home. Now, I submit to you that she comes from, say, he's in the kitchen, and she stabs him or jabs him with a syringe full of insulin. He doesn't drop to the floor immediately, does he?
I would have no way of answering that.
Well, you heard the testimony here of the experts. That insulin has a delayed reaction, 15 to 30 minutes, right?
5 to 15.
Yes, I believe that's what the doctor
So
said.
this woman jabs him, this athlete, and this little girl stabs him with that insulin, and his reaction is, "Thank you, honey. May I have another one?" Now, come on, detective. She would stab him, and his first reaction was, "What the heck was that?"
Actually, she told me that he had been sleeping for 45 minutes to an hour prior to his medical event that morning.
But we've established that it could not have happened in the bed upstairs, could it?
She said he was sleeping on the couch.
So she injected him, and he didn't wake up, right? Is that your testimony?
No, that's not my testimony.
Okay, so she jabs him in the kitchen, and he has 15 minutes to half an hour to react to it, and he does nothing? Is that your testimony here today? He
No.
does nothing but drops on the floor after waiting for half an hour?
No, that's not my testimony.
Well, wouldn't it a normal person who got jabbed by, and by the way, that could not have happened in silence. It would be one of those, you son of a gun, I'm gonna stab you, I'm gonna kill you.
You son of a gun.
Or whatever. That usually doesn't happen in silence.
You say that, Jamie. You are a person who would say, "You son of a gun."
You son of a gun. I'm gonna now. I'll use that very often.
Yeah. When cheese or Pete's isn't enough anymore, it's gonna be you son of a gun. Oh.
That type of action. If I stab you, I wouldn't be doing it in silence, would I? So this woman stabs him, true, and then he has 15 minutes to 30 minutes to react.
Objection, Your Honor, this is entirely speculation, and he's placing testimony in the witnesses now.
Well, I think we've gone too far
Okay.
along this line. Let's please move
Yeah.
on.
We have.
Mrs.
We've gone off
Bledsoe.
the rails.
She wasn't there in the apartment in her house with just Michael. Soon enough, there were about 9 people milling around that house, right? 2 workers, right?
Yes, Mr. Bowen and Mr. Miller were the first to arrive
Okay.
sometime between, I think, around close to 12:30.
Who else?
John Hamilton arrived shortly after they did.
The sister also.
I'm not sure exactly what time she got there.
But she did get
It was
there.
later in the day.
With her boyfriend.
Yes.
And then there was Mr. Davis. So let me
Finally,
ask-
yes.
So let me propose this scenario for you. The defendant who is planning to kill her husband goes to Miss Davis and asks for a murder weapon, right? The insulin.
There was a text between them where the defendant procured a bottle of insulin from Miss Davis, yes.
So if she, for example, wanted to kill him with a gun, she would never obtain a gun from a third person, right?
Objection, Your Honor,
All right.
speculation.
Assistant.
Okay.
That's speculation.
Would you agree with me, Mr. Bledsoe, that she just brought 2 people into the potential case against her by asking for the insulin and having the insulin delivered by another person to her home? So now she has 2 witnesses against her, right?
The witnesses could be for or against her.
Okay. And would you also agree with me that all of these people who came later to the house could also be the witnesses against her, right?
As I stated, for or against.
You heard the testimony that this type of medication cannot kill, that this type of medication, the Humalog, is not a deadly substance.
Objection, Your Honor, that was not anyone's testimony.
Assistant.
All right? You don't have any evidence to suggest, Officer Bledsoe, that my client injected Mr. Cochran later in the day when all of these people were present. Do you?
I think the evidence that was testified to by Dr. Krieger and Dr. Uribe support the theory that was possible. Yes.
Possible? Then I will ask you here today and under oath, sir. Point me in the direction of my client injecting anybody with insulin while all these 7 or 8 or 9 people were present. What time, under what circumstances, where, and with what syringe and what insulin? Point it to the jury. Tell the jury.
I can't answer that.
Because you don't know. You don't have any of that evidence, do you?
Just refer to my previous answer about the evidence.
All right. No. Hold on. We'll get to it. At the time of, you remember that this case had been dismissed once, pending the second, the autopsy, right?
Which autopsy are you referring to, sir?
Well, the second autopsy upon the second exhumation of Mr. Cochran.
I wasn't a part of the second exhumation in any way.
Okay? At the time this case was indicted in 2023, all your evidence suggested that there was no insulin involved in this case. True?
There won't, because
No,
the jury
no.
agreed.
Well,
But
medical
there should-
evidence by Dr. Kubitschek. What did it tell you?
You have to be more specific which
Well,
medical
you heard him
evidence.
testify. There was no evidence of the intentional homicide.
Yeah, but still, the circumstantial evidence will have to point to her being the one doing it. And circumstantial evidence should be pointing, at this point, this is their last witness. This guy can't even say for certain when or if she injected him with insulin. If their own last witness can't reliably say, I believe at 11:45, because it's a fast reacting insulin, and if he keeled over at 12 o'clock, at 11:45 she injected him with insulin that caused him to go into a diabetic coma, because this and that points in that direction. I still have so much reasonable doubt. I would not be able to find her guilty.
Right?
I believe his report reflected that it was undetermined.
Right.
Yes.
Prior to Dr. Krieger and her involvement in this case, point me to the evidence, medical evidence, that insulin was involved in this case. You don't have any.
I think the blood glucose level of Michael Cochran would be considered medical evidence that
When and by whom?
at Raleigh General Hospital on the February the 6th date.
No, they didn't believe it was insulin induced.
Yeah,
It
the
wasn't-
hospital didn't even believe that.
It wasn't until you started looking at the financial crime that anyone started expecting foul play. So the blood glucose level wasn't an indicator of an insulin overdose, because medical professionals didn't even take the test that could prove that he had too much insulin, because they didn't think that was the case.
When he was taken there.
Show me the evidence that would indicate that, I'll show the jury the evidence, that the Raleigh General
Yeah, but being a smart criminal doesn't make the state not have to prove your case. And at the same time, she's the smartest criminal. She's the dumbest criminal, because do you know what the easiest thing could do? Get him cremated. Then there would be absolutely no proof other than a blood glucose test that shows he had a blood glucose. Well, there's still no evidence, even though they exhumed him. The problem is she's either the smartest criminal in the world getting away with a crime, or the stupidest idiot in the world, because
Yeah.
it's so clear she did it. And you
Yeah,
can't,
because the
you can't
hospital
be
put him
both.
on hospice and let it at that.
Yeah, and again, and the hospital didn't suspect insulin overdose.
Mm-mm.
So again, and I know, did she do it? Probably. Have the state proven it? In my opinion, no.
Hospital believed Michael's
It's
death
possible she could have
as
done
a
it.
homicide or suspicious for homicide.
That was not.
How can you answer that?
I agree. The court has to sustain the objection.
Okay. Then you have Dr. Krieger, whom the prosecutor hired, and Dr. Uribe, and these two came up with the concept of insulin injection being the murder weapon, right?
I don't believe I heard either one of them testify that to a murder weapon.
Well, then, from your thorough investigation of this case, Mr. Bledsoe, how was this poison administered?
Come on.
I can't answer that.
You can't
That's a
answer it.
problem.
I want to
So
ask you
then
something
that's
else.
a problem.
You testified in this case that, and you testified before the grand jury, right? In this case.
Yes, sir.
And the gist of your testimony before the grand jury was that Michael was about to find out the whole scope of my client's financial improprieties, right?
Are you referring directly to my grand jury testimony?
Well, I mean, all right, forget your grand jury. You believe that Michael
I think she is down to 9 or 10 years.
was about to find out about my client being a dishonest fraud
No, she didn't get sentenced until I think she took the deal in 2023.
who deceived even him, right?
Don't you tease
That's
us,
correct.
Wes.
Okay. And somehow she killed him.
That's the worst thing, nursery dog mom, because this guy hasn't been the one questioning the last 2 days. The other guy was a bit slow, but it was more technical stuff.
Mhm.
2021.
Because he was going to do what?
Okay,
He
I
was
thought it
going
was
to run to the
2023.
feds.
Thank you so much.
He was going to expose her. He was going to kill her himself. What the heck was he going to do when he learned all of this?
I have no way of knowing. I never got the opportunity to ask him.
Well,
So then what's your case?
but Mr. Bledsoe, we are looking at a person who has been married to his high school sweetheart for 17 years, who has 2 children with her, and all of a sudden he finds out that this sweetheart is cheating. She's a fraud, right? Well, first reaction, wouldn't the first reaction be, well, let's talk about it, honey. What happened? Let's think about it. Let's call a lawyer, right?
Your Honor, we're speculating again.
Well,
We're going down the road that we probably shouldn't. So I'm going to sustain the objection.
she had no reason to kill him because we have no idea what this man would have done, even if she told him, honey, I'm a cheat, she had no reason to kill him.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
No, she had a reason to kill him because he was going to do what? He was going to kill her? What the heck? Officer, come on.
No, I never said that he was going to kill her.
Oh, what?
It's always okay, especially on this channel, to play the devil's advocate, because we do it sometimes. If chat gets a little too one-sided, Jamie will look at me and I'll start saying, but Sarah Boone, did we really know she was the one who put him in the suitcase?
Yeah.
Just because it's good when we look at the facts and discuss the facts instead of just sitting here saying, she's indicted, she must be guilty.
What was he going to do? So that she had to take such a drastic measure as to kill him.
Objection, Your Honor. He's already been asked and answered. He said already that he did not know what Michael was going to do because he never got a chance to ask him.
I'll allow that question to stand. Answer if you can, officer.
Could you repeat that, please?
What would he do if he learned that she was a cheat?
And please, just because nursery doggy mom didn't watch the trial, don't attack her. She has a right to her opinion. We are all friends here, except Zach when he comes in. Everyone can be mean to Zach. The rest of us, we agree to disagree and we discuss. We are grown-ups, except Zach. Zach is barely human. He's almost
Yeah.
Swedish.
I don't know what he would have done.
And she sees it differently than us. That's fine.
And that's perfectly fine, because if we all agreed, we wouldn't have any
Now-
discussions.
You talked to several witnesses in this case, including Mr. Treadway, right?
Mr. Treadway?
Yes.
That's not correct.
You didn't?
I sure wanted to and attempted to, but he refused to. He refused to meet and speak with me.
Okay. How about Mr. Bowen?
Could you be more Jason Bowen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Did Mr. Oh, let me see. Where's Mr. Bowen? did Mr. Bowen tell you that
Exactly, Mass.
in February of 2019, shortly before Michael's death, Michael appeared foggy?
Yes, he asked him about it, and he said, "I don't know anything about no needles."
Out of it, loopy. You remember that?
Is that being taken directly from an interview that I did with you?
Yeah, it is. We
Yes,
can play
that-
it. And you
yes.
remember now?
Yes, that sounds accurate.
That Michael was sweating. Michael was off balance. Michael wasn't himself. Remember that?
I don't remember verbatim, though, but that sounds consistent. Yes.
You remember a situation when Mr. Davis testified that Michael, I think it was in January of 2019, Michael was doing some kind of a job repairing somebody's light fixtures, right?
I believe he was assisting Mr. Davis with the installation of a ceiling fan, as I recall.
And appeared to be completely out of it.
No, that's not accurate.
Now he was confused.
I don't remember exactly how Mr. Davis described that. I know he wasn't overly concerned about it because he laughed and told me, he said, "But man," he said, "we got the ceiling fan installed." So it didn't rise to a level of great concern for Mr. Davis, but he felt it was necessary for us to know that.
Do you remember talking to Michael Davis about this case?
To who? I'm sorry.
To Michael, I'm sorry, to Chris Davis.
Chris Davis, yes.
Do you remember having Mr. Davis advising you that Michael Cochran in February of 2019 appeared to mentally struggle while assisting him with the installation of a ceiling fan?
Yes, that's what I just described.
That's in your report.
Yes.
He also described Mr. Cochran as having outbursts of stress and anger. And he never observed that before in Michael. Do you remember that?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. You knew that Michael was using all kinds of supplements, right?
I didn't know that. I was told that by the defendant, yes.
Well, Mr. Bowen, for that matter, told you that Michael took as many as 35 supplements a day. We can play that statement.
If you're saying that.
No pictures of a needle on a counter. The needle you have seen was me showing, and I forgot who sent me the picture. We saw the needle from a diabetic pen. There was no needle found in this case.
Came from his statement, then yes, I'll agree with that.
Mr. Bowen also said that Michael used a dropper to administer enclophamine. Remember that? He would take a couple of drops at a time.
Did he name that specific substance?
Substance being discussed, and the substance being discussed, from what I understand, was enclophamine.
I don't recall that directly, but
Okay.
if
Now, do you remember
Come on, guy.
a witness, and I think it was maybe Mr. Bowen, who told you that Michael got confused in a grocery store, didn't know where he was, couldn't recognize.
Someone found out what I called myself on OnlyFans. I'm the broken maker over there.
His
Person
car
Baker.
parking lot.
I believe that, I'm not sure where the location was. I believe the way he characterized that is Mr. Cochran couldn't remember where he parked his vehicle.
I see. Did you know that Michael Cochran apparently hated Panera Bread, the restaurant?
Why?
And a witness testified, the testimony would be that he actually went there and didn't know where he was. Would that surprise you? It would be Mr. Treadway.
Again, I would have been glad to talk to Mr. Treadway. But I refused.
Why am I at this place? This is a horrible place.
Let's say that Michael wasn't himself the last couple of months. Between the time he was in hospital and the
bread.
time when
Not
he
Panera
actually
Bread
collapsed in
again.
home.
Yes, I believe that's fair to say. He was definitely exhibiting signs, I think, of stress over not being able to find out where his money was. It
No,
was supposed to
sure.
be in the bank.
Sure, I understand that. But he also exhibited some serious illnesses,
I agree, Valhalla.
and he was prescribed
delicious, but
some
it's
serious
expensive.
medication. And I'd like to ask you whether you know whether he was ever
Should I look it up?
You can, but it's just
diagnosed
overpriced, a little overpriced
with
for my taste.
seizures and acute encephalopathy.
I don't recall if he was specifically diagnosed with that or not.
Well, did you read the report of Dr. Ward? I mean, it's in the document. Just give it to us. You gave it to us.
I'm sure that, yes, that I reviewed those documents it's been many years ago. And said,
Panera
I
not
didn't recall it off
again.
the top of my
Sorry,
head.
that's
So he had
killing
an
me.
acute condition of seizures, encephalopathy, and was prescribed medication that I probably cannot even pronounce, lamotrigine, serious medication against seizures, anticonvulsant.
If it's fresh potatoes, I like them with the skin on. If it's old potatoes, I'll take the skin off because it gets thicker because they leave it in the ground longer.
Would that surprise you? He had that condition?
Without actually seeing the documents and being able to know exactly how it's phrased and see the exact verbiage, I can't really say if it would surprise me or not. I know he sought treatment and was treated for various symptoms and possibilities of different medical conditions, but I don't ever remember seeing a clear diagnosis that definitively said this is exactly what's wrong with Michael Cochran.
He was treated to the extent that he refused to take the medication. Did you know that?
I have been told that.
You've been told that. He refused to take what medication, sir?
It was referred to as seizure medication.
That's not good, is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, that bacon mac looks great.
I mean, I think that
Let's go ahead and take our afternoon break at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please.
I used to get it all the time when I was back in the day, but it was like $45 for a meal.
There's no prices on this website, but it looks good.
It's like sandwiches and soups, and their macaroni and cheese is good.
And they do catering, and they have a sip club
Yeah.
for $3 a month. You can get 20 different types of. I want to see what it costs. Order online. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Let me put a fake order in. Delivered to Denmark.
Continue as guest. Find a cafe near you.
Put in
Flint.
48502. There you go.
West Virginia. Nothing comes up.
485.
I'll take Delaware.
48532.
I'll take
48532.
Delaware West.
Okay, fine.
There's nothing in Delaware West. Oh, it's because it's Ontario, Canada. 4052.
48532. Do that. You should be able to find one.
And nothing comes up. I'll just write Knoxville.
That's a lie, because there's one in there's one
Oh,
right
it
in.
doesn't come up. I am on the search bar. Nothing comes up.
You know what?
There's no rapid pickup.
Well, I don't have
Chicago?
one out here, so I was trying to give them a city zip code.
No. Nothing pops. Nothing pops, Jamie.
I think that's a lie, sir. There ain't no way.
Why are you so
Tash
troublesome?
said 10018. Try that.
But it's I'm here. And
Yeah.
1018.
018.
1018.
Search.
0 nearby.
Well, 0 nearby what though? That zip code? That's so stupid. Come on.
10018. 0 nearby.
That's so crazy.
Let me.
I'm trying to like see it. This.
Can I?
Can you just type in
This area.
Yeah.
Is there anyone here? This is Chattanooga.
zoom in?
No nearby. Search this area.
They're everywhere. What are you talking about? This site
No
is
near
crazy.
this area.
Well, I don't
You
know
can
if it
see
does.
you can see me searching this area. I'll even remove
know.
this if it helps.
Go up to the Midwest because I don't know. Do they have a lot down south? Okay, they're everywhere. So I know we have about
Nothing.
15 million up here. So
Nothing. Well, we're up here now because you live somewhere in this area. So it's this area. Nothing.
search Flint. Flint's got them all. There's like 15.
Okay. You can see
Where?
Flint on the map.
Yeah.
Maybe I just have to go really, really close.
Maybe.
No nearby. And I'll go closer.
Well,
Nothing nearby. Oh, Genesis. Can I see it on the map? No. I don't think this is a real place. You all are pulling my leg.
That's fake. Oh my god. Did you spell it right? I love that.
I was hitting the search nearby. Hey, people are so mean.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's
Yeah, I got
showing
I
you
got
Europe.
that far too, Valhalla, but it doesn't show. It doesn't show anything on the menu. I just get I get this. Just get the one you sent me is this one. Zip club string or e-gift card. Then I can say start an order, continue as guest.
Well, what's the? Does it have your address weird or
Rapid
something?
pickup or free delivery. Let's try free delivery as that helps. I'll eat you. And who said what in?
Well, you'll need like
Street
an
address.
actual address. The full
I'll just share
address.
this because mine will pop up now. 25546 Kingsland Boulevard.
Okay.
Woohoo! It shows
Oh.
up Texas. Texas. Come on now. That spazzed it out completely.
Oh boy.
Now it's just
Jess says check your DMs. Did you send something easier for him? This poor guy.
it's yours. I was looking for some clothes at the Duluth trading company today. There's no access to their website. I like their clothes. I should get myself a flannel till you get over here.
Oh, there you go. Just showed you what a broccoli cheddar soup, a half spicy fiesta chicken sandwich, side of chips, and a Mountain Dew costs.
So that's $20 plus taxes.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of broccoli. I wouldn't have that, and we can't have the half spicy fiesta chicken because it's out of stock. No salsa verde spread. Again, I'm 95% sure this isn't the real place. It's just something you say.
I just love that he said, he hated Panera Bread, right? Like, why? Because he ended up there and he was just so confused. What? Oh my God, why?
Yeah, I would see their bakery, because as a former baker, whenever I go past the bakery, I'll look in it just to see what they're doing. I want to see their baking stuff. Exactly. That's why they hated it, because he kept running around. She said, "Can you swing by and get some broccoli cheddar soup?" And he said, "I've been driving around for hours. I think I'm losing my mind. I can't find Panera Bread because it doesn't exist."
Oh my God. That was funny.
I've been told by Jamie it's perfectly fine. It tastes just like the lead chips she ate off the wall when she was a kid.
Oh, is that it? No, I don't have that type of water.
Yeah, Panera is a prank. They have great underwear at Panera Bread. Or maybe it's at the Duluth Trading Company.
They have great underwear.
But no, I was looking and it comes up, you're not allowed to watch this. I looked online and it said something about Duluth is weird that way. I'll have to go there when I come over the next time. I'll have to find a flannel so you can feel at home, Jamie.
A flannel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that what 95% of people in your state wear?
Well, yeah. I mean, my my uncle actually has like a funeral flannel and a wedding flannel and an everyday flannel. So yeah.
It's they have the best commercials. I don't know. I couldn't see anything. This is almost better than frolicking. Yeah, well, they're taking their mid-afternoon break and they've been going on break for 20 minutes now. He likes his breaks. At least that witness that was supposed to be there 45 minutes ago isn't going to be late.
Nope.
Funeral flannel. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I got a pair of jeans the last time, a pair of cargo pants, and I like those.
He does. Because he showed up one time. I was like, "Is that new? You got a new flannel." And then he has his thermal flannels for the wintertime.
Wedding flannel is common if you're a bogan in Australia.
Oh.
Well, I have to goggle them now. I think they said something about it could be because I'm on a Chrome user. I tried to open an Edge, but still couldn't see the website. Again, it's probably just cheaper to, when I finally get to Los Estados Unidos, just to go down and buy it. Why don't I make a stop in Minnesota? There's a Panera and Duluth Trading Company. Because
Yeah,
Minnesota,
right next to each other, wouldn't that be hilarious? What am I doing here? I'm so confused.
I'm so
I hate
confused.
this place. Yes, I'm laughing at that. I'm sorry, people. Oof.
This is why you watch Trials with Jamie. At some point, you'll just lose it, and you don't really know why.
I
That
was just
joke
wondering
we
where
talked
he was
about
going
5
with
minutes
that.
ago.
Yeah, I can't stop laughing because it's just. He hated Panera Bread. I was thinking, why? I gotta hear this story. I'm
No
really
habla
sad he didn't
español.
really get into it though and tell us why he hated them.
Well, just tell Valhalla to take me there, then he won't do it. because he won't take me to the Mousetrap. He won't take me to Waffle House. He won't take me to Twin Peaks. He won't take me to Hooters. I know it's a good Christian channel, but he's worse than my preacher.
All right, are there matters to take up at this time, please? Anything from the state?
Nothing on behalf of the state, Your Honor.
Anything from the defense? Bring in the jury.
Isn't it Banana Bread? What's Panera?
Panera.
Yeah, I'm gonna F that up. Banana is better. Banana. Yeah. Valhalla, will you take me to Funky Town? Yeah, but I just want to see one of them because we don't have restaurants like that in Denmark. We had one, and then a lot of high school kids went outside and demonstrated, and a lot of girls lost their jobs. Because we don't mind you being nude on a beach, but please don't wear a miniskirt and have titlets in a restaurant. Banana bread. I like banana muffins. Banana chocolate muffins. Why don't you me to funk it down? We lose it, Jura. So you only want to see a hoot or a
All
single
right,
peak?
we are right
can
in the
imagine
middle
the
of
other.
cross-examination of the state's witness. You may continue, Mr. Victor.
They were just cross-examining. No demonstrations.
In the end, Your Honor.
Okay.
Did you know that Mr. Cochran was using the so-called smart drugs from nootropics?
What?
I'm not familiar with that term, smart drugs. I don't know
Well, you
what that
gave
is.
us the discovery. You did all this investigation. You didn't know that Mr. Cochran was using substance?
Oh, it's all those weird drugs that certain YouTubers and podcasters promote. All the mushroom things that give you quick brain, cognitive elite. Swedish supplements. It has the F word on it. Of course, it's Swedish. What are nootropics? Nootropics are also known as cognitive enhancers, drugs that some people use in an attempt to improve memory, increase mental alertness and concentration, as well as boost energy levels and wakefulness. Alpha Brain. I use Alpha Brain before every stream to keep my mind fresh.
This is that you didn't even know about.
If it was a discovery, that doesn't necessarily mean that I had knowledge that he was actually using anything.
Did you hear anything about Mr. Cochran using substances that boosted the brain performance?
No, I don't recall hearing that.
Anything about substances that increase the memory of a person who uses them?
No, like I said, I guess the supplement information that I was given was by the defendant after Mr. Cochran was deceased.
Did you know that he used any stimulants to keep him awake?
Yeah, but it gave me man tickles, so I had to stop.
Did you know that he was using substances that had pretty serious side effects, such as high blood?
He's not a creepy old dude. He gave them sausage rolls this morning.
Oh my God.
He's a nice guy. He gave them donuts yesterday. Yes, Money G, this is the lead detective. This is the state's last witness. They are going to end after this.
Pressure, fast heart rate,
Kiwi Green
Insomnia.
love nootropics.
trouble sleeping. Did you know that he was using these substances?
I don't know what substance you're referring to.
For example, Provigil.
Can you pronounce
Provigil?
that again?
PRO.
Isn't that what the rackets took? That's ADHD medication. No, anti-sleeping thingy thing.
Oh,
Provisional
that-
is that's some. I think Rackets took that to combat his sleepiness. I can't remember what is sleep sickness, sleep apnea or whatever it is.
Vigil. Provisional.
I don't know if he was using that or not.
How about substances like Adderall,
Narcolepsy.
Ritalin?
Yes, narcolepsy, like I said.
Do I know if he was using them?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know that.
Okay. All right. You participated in the search of the Cochran residence in June of 2019, right?
That's correct.
And you were there to seek financial information, right?
So it's a wide variety of things we were there seeking as part of that search warrant.
Well, the search warrant provided mostly for the evidence of financial crimes. You weren't searching anything related to murder, were you?
No,
No. May I?
Yes.
May I approach the witness?
yes, you may.
Showing you what's been marked as the defense exhibit number 9. It may be 9, 10, or 11, or it's 9.
It says 9 and 4 photos.
Okay, so it's collective 9.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us what that is?
It's a vial with the label Humalog on it.
Is it true, sir, that you found that vial in the refrigerator of Mrs. Cochran's?
That's correct.
And that was the vial that has already been discussed here before this jury in this case, right?
That's correct.
And that had the CPAP.
Mr. Cochran died in February of 2019.
Yes,
And you find this vial in June. That would be June. Well, I don't remember the exact date. June what?
I believe the search warrant was on June 25th of 2019.
Well, it's 4 months later.
Yes,
Looking at this exhibit, would you agree with me that this bottle is full?
no,
No? Look at the second picture.
Hello, Andrea. Welcome.
Would you agree with me that that bottle is, that's the same bottle, isn't it?
it appears to be, yes.
And that bottle is full.
I can't tell anything at all from this picture
You can't, okay?
as far as the level of contents.
Okay. And would you flip to the next page? And that bottle appears to be full. Am I correct or am I wrong?
Same answer. I can't tell from this picture. I can't make an assessment.
Remember the testimony of the expert who said that you would have to inject somebody with a fair amount, and she did that, if I remember the gesture, something like that. Remember that? To cause the death with that type of insulin.
Which expert are you referring to?
Dr. Krieger. She said she used the word fair amount.
That sounds accurate.
So does it appear to you, and we don't know exactly where this gesture stopped, but would it appear to you that a fair amount of substance from this bottle has been withdrawn?
I can't testify to what Dr. Krieger believes is a fair amount based on a hand signal.
Would you agree with me, sir, that as you sit here today, you cannot tell this jury with any degree of certainty that this bottle that was found in the refrigerator of my clients is the bottle that was used by in your case, what you believe, as the murder weapon?
Can you ask me that again, please?
This is not the bottle that was used and its substance been used to allegedly inject Mr. Cochran. You have no evidence of that.
I can't say if it is or it isn't.
Do you have any evidence whatsoever that it is? Let me ask you this before you, maybe ask you another question. You have any fingerprints on that bottle?
Not that I'm aware of.
You have any DNA on this bottle? We're talking about a murder case, talking about a murder weapon.
No.
You would expect the Quantico people and you and everybody else to examine this bottle from top to bottom for fingerprints, for DNA, for any sign of connection between this bottle and this person, my client. Do you have any scientific evidence or any evidence that this is the bottle that caused the death, on the substance that caused the death of Michael Cochran?
No, not this particular bottle. I can't say either way, if it is or it isn't.
Okay, if I may retrieve the exhibit.
Very well.
He's trying to look so sad and pathetic. So they'll
Can you
be
get
like,
insulin
"Aw,
over the
poor
counter?"
guy.
I really don't know. I've heard conflicting answers on that.
Okay. Can a pharmacist get insulin over the counter, or if she's planning a murder with insulin, can we maybe like take some from the supplies of the pharmacy where she's working?
We speaking hypothetically?
Well, let's say can a pharmacist have access to insulin?
I would imagine a pharmacist can if they're dispensing it, yes.
Okay. And if somebody wants to use insulin as a murder weapon, they can obtain it without any major suspicion or any major problems.
As long as they are actually employed as a pharmacist and actively working as a
Okay.
pharmacist.
Yeah, but they still have to do inventories and stuff.
Or if they know people in the pharmacy business, and maybe they can get some on the slide. Right?
Jamie, I know you're not directly, but aren't you under strict control with all this stuff?
Well, yeah, like everything's inventoried and like you can't just snag a little. I mean,
No,
you might get away with it at that moment in time, but you're not going to get away with it for long.
Yeah, because then they
And
will
most of
have
the time,
to go.
there's video cameras, especially in ours. There's video cameras everywhere. So
Yeah, and I know they put the video cameras up for the Oxy and all the other good stuff. But again, if you have a little side business hustling some insulin for the local bodybuilders, they would catch that at some point. Maybe you
Yeah.
can get one vial to disappear, but it will still show up. It's yeah,
well, then you have to account
course.
for it at some point.
yeah. I don't
I
know.
would hope not, but I guess it's possible.
And they may not necessarily need to ask a neighbor for the insulin, that they can get themselves over the counter.
I can't answer that question.
Do you know what kind of insulin you can get over the counter?
No, sir.
Okay. Wouldn't that be one of your basic questions before you accuse my client of murdering Mr. Cochran with insulin?
Your client told me that she could buy insulin over the counter in one of the interviews that I did with her.
Okay. All right. If I may have a second.
Very well.
That's all the questions I have of this witness.
All right, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. And I will go ahead and advise the court, since I will need help, I'm getting the projector again.
I'm sorry?
I will go ahead and advise that I will need help with the projector again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with insulin, as in what you can get over the counter or not, because
Your Honor, may we approach on some of the proposed?
I'm sure you can. You just have to pay cash. So you think they're done now? Yeah, animal meds are a lot easier to get. But like, yeah, see, I don't
Wrong
have
time to take
anyone.
a bio break.
Oh, you're fine. I don't have anybody I know that gets insulin. Oh,
I can tell you we are very wrong on this channel, Jamie, because during my bio break, I follow along on my tablet, and that was court TV. 11% says no guilty over there. 13% says hung jury, and 75% says guilty. Because do you know how easy it is to just, because she knows all of her clients' names and can just make a fake prescription, and that's so easy to do.
what? No. And she wasn't even working as a pharmacist during this time. So,
Jamie, she knows all
and
her
pharmacists
clients.
can't write prescriptions.
Jamie,
Pharmacists can't write prescriptions.
I know from this case that when I ask for the blue pill testosterone supplements, you can just write a prescription to me and you're going to bring them to Denmark. It's easy.
That's news to me.
Well, it's
I mean,
not.
and NPs can't even like have to have a supervising physician for prescriptions to be valid, like in most states. So I don't know how they think that's going to happen.
Nursey Dog Mom, you are one of 21%. 21% find her guilty on this channel as well. So it's just all us loudmouths who agrees with each other.
Yeah, I mean, we just.
We're just mean old Pete's.
All right, you may proceed, Ms. Eckert.
I think
Jamie.
we're a lot.
Lieutenant Bledsoe, you have experience working in federal court, right?
Yes.
So you're familiar with the topic of unindicted co-conspirators?
Yes.
Oh, so now he's an unindicted
So if you
co-conspirator.
believe that Michael was involved, could you have pursued conspiracy charges against Ms. Cochran?
You wouldn't do that. He's dead.
Could you rephrase that or repeat that? I'm sorry.
If you believed that Michael was involved in the federal charges, could you have pursued conspiracy charges against Mrs. Cochran?
Yes.
But you did not do that, correct?
No, we did not.
The properties that were named in the forfeiture were owned by both of the Cochrans when Michael was alive, right?
Correct.
And we've seen that Michael's name was on all of the various bank accounts of the two companies. Does this tell you what he did or didn't know about the businesses at all?
No.
Now, the checks that you've seen that Michael wrote total a couple $1,000s, is that right?
I believe so. That sounds accurate.
Yeah, okay. Betsy. Thanks, Betsy. I seen that too because I had to look it up. And
Yes.
it isn't. It's just like a synthetic.
How much money
version.
passed through TSG total?
I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head.
document were you referring to, Ms. Aker?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, that was defendant's exhibit. I believe it was defendant's exhibit 5, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, I would ask for this document to be marked as the state's next exhibit.
All right.
Number 28 to the state, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Didn't we have someone from West Virginia who said they couldn't buy it OTC in West Virginia? I believe someone said that the other day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Now,
Yes.
defense counsel told you that the Bank of America account was never opened. Is that right?
That's correct.
What does this check tell you?
That it's a check printed with Bank of America, an account number on the bottom, Tactical Solutions Group LLC, and deposit only to another account.
But it is the Bank of America check.
It is, yes.
Now, during your investigation, you saw a text between the defendant and Michael Cochran during the time that he allegedly had her phone. Is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell me what nootropic source is? From your understanding?
It was included, I believe, either on the bottle of enclomiphene or on orders that I saw for the bottles of enclomiphene.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this be marked as the state's next exhibit.
Exhibit number 29, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Now, Lieutenant Bledsoe, is that your email signature at the top of the page?
Yes, it is.
Was this email sent to you?
It was.
And who was it sent from?
It was sent from the defendant.
And what does that tell you about who between the Cochrans was interacting with nootropic source?
I'm going to object. This message doesn't tell him anything.
I think you have to sustain the objection. You could rephrase Ms. Aker.
This is further down on the same email. I'm sorry. This was forwarded, right?
Yes.
That's the top of the page. Does this tell you who was attempting to order the enclomiphene?
Yes, the defendant.
Are you at all familiar with insulin needles?
No.
So you wouldn't know about the size of that needle at all, right?
No.
Now, I know the defense counsel repeatedly asked you for direct evidence of our murder investigation, which we have repeatedly stated that we don't have, right?
Correct.
What circumstantial evidence led you to charge the defendant with murder.
I'm going to object as asked and answered at least twice.
I don't believe it has been, Your Honor.
Overruled. I'll permit it.
What circumstantial evidence do you have that led you to believe the defendant committed the murder of Michael Cochran?
The actions of Michael Cochran and the text messages between Michael Cochran and the defendant.
What text messages?
Then show us these text messages.
What is the text messages?
We have no text messages provided so far that says anything. Hey, honey bunny, I stole a couple of $1 million. Oh, sorry, you weren't supposed to find out.
That's
What?
what was the first thing you said? You
they
said
showed us
messages
was
and what else?
different people. It wasn't too.
Yeah.
And it was your testimony earlier that the defendant, in fact, told you that Michael was, quote, doing the best he's ever done in his life. Is that right?
That's correct.
The morning of February 6th, did Natalie purport to get both herself and Michael medications?
She did.
And just for clarification, who is that text message from?
It's from the defendant to Michael Cochran.
For wrong info, it verified by location. Just want to have it all night when they prove case only snows me last few digits of that account number. I am Doc's office getting swapped again and getting Prometh shot and getting you both meds.
Okay.
And lastly,
that?
was Natalie Cochran employed as a pharmacist at the time of Michael's death?
No, she was not.
And I'm sorry, Your Honor, I'd like to have this exhibit more.
States exhibit number 30.
Your Honor, this time I would ask that state exhibits 28, 29, and 30 be entered into evidence.
Any objection?
I object to the exhibit previously mentioned. I don't know what the number is. 28,
For the reasons stated,
for the reasons stated at the bench
All right.
conference.
I'm going to admit 28, 29, and 30, 28 over the defense objection, but I'll observe exceptions.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, recross Mr. Victor.
May I see 28, please?
Yeah, let's see those. I want to see those text messages where he said, honey, I just talked to the bank. Something is wrong. I thought we had $1 million in our bank account. Didn't you say we were rolling in government cash? Where are the money? I'm calling the popo. All of these texts, she answered someone else that, oh, sorry. And then there was something else about an account that they didn't really get into and I couldn't read.
States exhibit 28. And tell the jury what it is.
It appears to be copies of checks that were written on an account at Bank of America for the Business Tactical Solutions Group, LLC.
Would you tell the jury if there are any checks written while Michael Cochran was alive?
Give me just a second to review.
Oh, so she used a check written after he was dead. Yeah, that's why he didn't sign it.
don't see any, no, sir.
So after Michael Cochran's death, would it be fair to say that the defendant opened the account and wrote the checks on it as part of her fraud?
No,
No. Show me the evidence, if you can, that my client opened that account prior to February 5th or 6th, the flight to Lynchburg, Virginia. Show me any evidence that she opened that account prior to that date.
during my interview with Mr. Nexon, that was what I understood him to relay to me, was that she had contacted their bank, the defendant had contacted their bank for the purpose of opening an account.
Yeah.
For the
Purposes
purpose
of
of
opening the
not
account.
doing it.
I didn't ask you what the purpose was. I asked you whether they had an account open prior to February 6th of 2019.
I can't say if that account was open prior to that date or not.
And in fact, they were going there they were supposed to go there on the 6th to open the account because the banker, as he testified, needed their signatures, right?
I do recall him saying he needed their signatures, yes.
Well, then why are we beating around the bush? As far as you know, before the February 6th, 2019, that account wasn't open. That account was open later, after Michael's death.
I don't know that.
You don't know that.
So the state just used one of these checks to prove she signed it on an account they can't prove was open at the time he was alive.
That is the
Thi-
dumbest thing in the world.
This is shenanigans, and I don't like shenanigans.
Well, yeah, because then they're saying, "Oh, see, Michael had nothing to do with it." Okay, well,
Yeah, because he wasn't there.
he wasn't there.
Prosecutor asked you whether my client signing the checks told you anything about Michael Cochran knowing or not knowing anything about his business. Is that a fair paraphrase of her question?
I want to answer that. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand it. And I don't know if you could repeat it for me.
There was a question whether Michael knew anything about her business based on these checks. And you said you couldn't tell, right?
Yes.
So just because my client signed business checks after he died, because obviously he couldn't sign any more checks, that doesn't tell you what he knew or had known or didn't know or hadn't known about the business.
That was the whole purpose for his planned meeting at the Bank of America on the 6th, was to find out.
So the answer would be yes.
No, my answer is what I answered.
And you said that you had no knowledge of nootropics?
No, sir, I didn't say that.
What did you say?
I said I recalled the term or the word from either the bottle of clomiphene or documentation related to the order, which I have seen since. So it was one or the other, but I did recall that word. I just couldn't exactly remember exactly where.
And you testified on redirect that the messages between my client and her husband are circumstantial proof of her murdering Michael Cochran. Is that what you said?
I said his actions and the text messages, yes.
Actions and the text messages are
What
circumstantial proof
actions?
that she killed Mr. Cochran.
They're circumstantial and go towards that proof, yes.
Going towards the proof, or are they the proof?
Yes, they're the proof.
They're the proof. Show me the message that you claim is the proof of circumstantial evidence of my client killing Michael Cochran. Show me the one. Show the jury the one.
There's hundreds of them.
Hundreds of them.
Yes.
Well, show me number one.
I don't have them in front of me to show you.
Well, show me number two.
I don't have them here with me.
You're speculating, officer. All right, that's all I have. Withdrawn.
All right, it is withdrawn. Anything further, Ms. Akron?
Very briefly, Your Honor. Your Honor, I would ask this be marked as state's next exhibit. It has been shown to defense counsel.
Very well,
31 for the state, Your Honor.
thanks.
Lieutenant Bledsoe, what are the dates on this account summary from Bank of America?
It says for January 30th, 2019 to January 31st, 2019,
And what date did Michael Cochran die?
February the 11th, 2019.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I would ask this be moved into evidence.
That doesn't prove that.
No objection.
All right, it will be
Yeah,
admitted
what is
into
that
evidence.
proof of?
They were going to sign the papers.
Anything further, Ms. Aker?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Victor?
Is it true, sir, that the bank will not open an account unless it has the wet signature of each and every signatory of the account?
Objection, Your Honor. That question should have been posed of the banker that testified. This witness
He
has
did.
no way to
He
answer
said
that
no.
question.
Sustained.
All right? Did you
He
hear
said
the
yes.
banker testifying to that effect?
And he has been there the
No,
entire
I
time.
don't,
Okay?
I don't recall that.
Wasn't that the purpose of Mr. and Mrs. Cochran going to that bank in Virginia to sign off on that account, to open it formally by giving their signatures, putting their signatures to the opening documents of that account?
Mr. Cochran had been told that he was going to be receiving $1.4 billion into that account, and he wanted to make sure.
Yes or no?
Again, it's a simple question. That account isn't working until they sign the papers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that they set it up, they still have to sign before it goes active. And that's what the banker was angry about, that they didn't show up to sign the papers for that account.
It wasn't that the point of their trip to,
No, I don't believe it was.
you don't believe it was? That's all.
Anything further, Ms. Aker?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Remember when they said, can we push our witness till 2:30? Oh, shouldn't we say 4:30 instead? No, we're going to be fast. It's now 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Call your next witness, Ms. Aker.
We're going to rest.
State rest, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Wow, that
Members
was a
of the jury, you have
Right.
heard it from the state themselves. They have rested their case. That means they have completed the presentation of their case in chief. This is a good stopping point insofar as you folks are concerned, and we will do that. I need to ask you a very important question. Would you like to have Chick-fil-A biscuits in the morning?
I love this guy.
I'm going to travel past Chick-fil-A
I
and
would
buy
like
myself
Chick-fil-A
a
biscuits.
chicken biscuit, and I'll get 14 more if you think that that would be desirable.
Look at him.
All right, I
What
will
a
have
sweet
them
man.
for you as a treat in the morning and as a little encouragement to come back tomorrow. Please watch yourselves tonight. Don't discuss this matter with family members or friends. They will try to put pressure on you to find out information about this case. We have so much time and effort invested in it now that we need to see it through. So do not watch anything on TV. Do not get online. Do not do any research. Do not listen to anything on the radio. Please keep your minds free and clear of all outside influences so that you'll be in a proper position to decide this case when the time comes. Thank you very much for being here promptly. I will see you first thing in the morning. We'll start up at 9 o'clock. I will have your
I wish more judges
chicken
would be like this.
biscuits in your
Another
jury room at
chicken
least
biscuit.
by 8:30, maybe even earlier if I can get out of bed early in the morning. So I will see you tomorrow. You may go with the bailiff to your jury room.
He seems to do it on his own free will, which is funny.
No, he feeds them.
Yes.
Before we
Yeah.
proceed further, could we approach the bench?
Yes.
I bet she would like a chickafil in the morning.
I'd say, can I have one too, Judge, please?
The expert brought me down to eat chickafil one morning. The first morning I was in the States. It was pretty good. We got some small, like slider-sized burgers. They were good.
I've only
Because-
had it like one time, the chicken sandwich. It was just like a bite of somebody else's. I've never actually on my very
And that's when I found out that you can eat chicken with honey. I learned a lot
What?
about honey in Tennessee.
You didn't know that? Chicken?
We don't.
nuggets,
We use
like
honey to put
chicken?
in tea, or you put it on toast.
No, put it on some chicken.
And I found out I like hot honey. I want my
Oh.
honey like I want my women, spicy.
Yeah, hot honey is chef's kiss.
Enjoy your vacay, Teresa. For my chickafil when in the US. Thank you, Jinxie. I'll go get myself some more chickafil.
I've never had their biscuits or anything. Are they good? I've never had.
Yeah, I like them.
obviously.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know much about biscuits because it was the first time I had them, but they were great.
All right. Are there motions at this time?
Yes, motion to dismiss.
Your Honor,
Yeah.
I make a motion for an acquittal in this case. And in as much as these motions, in many cases, are perfunctory motions where the evidence is overwhelming, this is not one of those cases. In fact, we can sit here and argue a couple of things and claim that there is sufficient evidence to take this case to the jury. But this case, the prosecutor's case, even if the court looks at this case in the most favorable light to the prosecution,
Thanks,
is
Erica.
a collage of little suppositions which, if put together, do not even make a coherent picture. For that matter, they don't even make an incoherent picture. We have the only evidence the state has presented to this court is that at some point, my client had in her possession.
Yeah, this is the direct verdict from the judge. It's always when the state rests and the jury has left the room, they'll do it.
And insulin, which we know cannot cause the type of reaction that has caused, in this case, to the alleged victim. We know that my client was perhaps a fraud and a cheat.
Well, even if he denies it, they will still have to come back and be told that the case has been denied. I think. Yeah, I think so.
But we have no motive, and I understand that the motive is not
usually considered by the courts in arriving at the decision. Motive for this defendant to kill her husband, and the state produced none. The state admitted to having no direct evidence, but the state cannot even produce circumstantial evidence. If we had circumstantial evidence of the substance that killed Mr. Cochran, we would perhaps not be making this motion. But we don't have that evidence. All we have is a vial of insulin, full and seemingly untouched, even though there seems to be a puncture in a bottle of this insulin that, as stated by the government's experts, cannot kill this cannot kill this victim. What's more, the state's star witnesses, well, these Dr. Krieger testified that death by insulin.
Jemima says if he grants it in favor of the defense, he could have the clerks call the jurors to tell them they are released. He asked the jury because they aren't supposed to know about this motion. Thank you, Jemima.
Is probably one of the reasons.
No, I have 3 more years of jury duty.
Maybe, but we don't know.
Oh,
Then
sorry.
Dr. Uribe stubbornly refused to admit that that there are other possibilities. We have the evidence of the alleged victim being a man of extremely questionable health, and we don't have a murder weapon. We don't have the motive. We don't have the insulin that may have been used. We have a couple of contradictory theories. First, it was the insulin in the morning in the kitchen. Then it was perhaps insulin in the bed. Then it was the insulin perhaps on the couch. These are all guesses. These are all suppositions. These are all innuendos. Then we have insulin that was administered in the morning. Then we have the theory that it was administered later on that afternoon. And that was the evidence that it would have to be continuously administered to cause the death. We have the evidence that this man, even if injected, would have been alive for 15 to 30 minutes to seek any type of help, assistance, aid, or comfort. He didn't do that. We don't have the evidence, direct or circumstantial, that Natalie Cochran killed her husband. And for that reason, I'm asking the court, well, the only evidence that potentially could be brought before this court is some evidence that the state argued for Mr. Cochran not to be taken to the hospital immediately. But that's the evidence of perhaps involuntary manslaughter. Negligent homicide, perhaps. That's a misdemeanor. That's not first-degree murder. Premeditation, when the defendant calls for a murder weapon on the same day and pretty much tells everybody, at least 2 witnesses, I want to kill my husband. That's the evidence. He might have just as well asked for a gun, for a murder weapon. That's not the evidence that the state can hang his hat on. There's no evidence of premeditation. There's no evidence of deliberation here. And for that matter, there is no evidence of malice. And we have also the evidence of no evidence of what Mr. Michael Cochran would have done had he learned about this alleged fraud.
Not alleged fraud.
We have no idea what he would have done, and therefore there is no evidence that my client needed to kill him for anything. I don't believe there's a shred of evidence in this case, direct or circumstantial, and I ask the court to seriously consider an acquittal.
Thank you, Mr. Victor. Let me hear from the state, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, we do agree with the defense that the state does not have to prove motive, although there is evidence of motive. Aside from that, the state's made a prima facie case, and that's all we have to do at this stage. The circumstantial evidence is significant, overwhelming, and a reasonable jury could use it to convict this defendant. That's what they should do, based upon the state of the evidence. The defense has floated a lot of smoke out there, but at the end of the day, when this man went to Raleigh General Hospital, he had a blood glucose of 21. And our experts accounted for that by him being injected with insulin. That's enough. She had motive, she had opportunity, she had the means to do it. She's a diabetes counselor. She's a pharmacist. Putting all that together, there's more than enough evidence to convict. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Truman.
That's not.
The court notes that the state told us all that this would be a circumstantial case.
Yeah, but they still have to
We've
prove
heard
it.
from significant witnesses, and perhaps the most important one in the court's mind was Dr. Uribe, who testified that the only way this victim could have died would be from insulin. We have heard about a motive that the defendant may have had to proceed in this manner against her husband. The court believes that a prima facie case has been established here, sufficient enough to take the case to the jury. The court is therefore constrained to deny the defendant's motion for judgment of acquittal, and I'll preserve this matter fully for the possibility of a review on appeal. All right, the next item we have to do, I have to advise the defendant of her Newman rights. I have to discuss with her right to testify in her own behalf in this case. For that purpose, we'll have to clear the courtroom of the state and all parties associated with the state. And also, I would ask to clear out the media as well, because this is a very private matter, and all parties that are here to observe as well.
To ask her if she want to testify, that's not a private matter. You see that in every trial.
Yeah.
You have the right to grab your ankles and tell daddy how much more jail time you like.
Oh my Lord, Brandon.
Sometimes I should read Brandon before I pull Brandon. You know that I get lulled into Brandon has been a good boy for a long time. He's really trying to beat out Valhalla in the mod of the year, and then he just does this again.
Game.
That's
like,
he's a
I'm
sneaker.
gonna be real coy. I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you one way or the other.
Yeah, that's his theme song.
The hell?
What are you doing?
I was just fixing my camera because I don't know what's wrong with it, but it resets all the time. I don't know if it's I need to buy a new one or something, but it keeps Peter A. Neither does I, but let's see what the poll says, because we did a poll earlier today. 21% said she was guilty. And now, come on, why doesn't it show my poll? Well, probably it comes up in a bit. Oh, it's here. I asked, the state has rested. Did they prove beyond a reasonable doubt she killed Michael with a dose of insulin? 89% says no. So that's higher than before, but the vote is lower. So it could be that's why. Maybe the guilty people had to go make dinner. That's a weird thing to say. Yeah, that you have been a nice boy. I know. No, it's not an autofocus, but it'll just reset. It's the same. Sometimes it'll just F up all the coloring and stuff like that. Well, I don't know. They're going to bring in their medical expert. They're not going to call her mom. I read that on Twitter that they were supposed to call her mom, but they're not going to do that. So they're most likely going to call the son and a medical expert, and then we'll have to find out if she wants to testify. Other than that, I don't know how much more, but I hope they have a good medical expert. Claire says no case. It's a setting you have to fix, I believe. No, it's just a camera. It's the same when I pop out of the morning and go to the night. It'll just reset. It's done it for the last 2 weeks. I think maybe it's overheating, or it's just it can't do these long hours. The audio isn't matching up to the voice. I can't do anything about that. I wish more people would think deep down before throwing people in prison for life. The evidence would have to be glaring. In this case, it isn't. Restless mom, that's what I have been saying also. Yeah. This is a life. Again, as he said, if it had been a manslaughter case where she potentially could have maybe 12 years in prison, or unintentional homicide, yeah, I could buy that one. But a first degree is planned, it meticulously planned that you wanted to do this. And if I wanted to unalive someone, I wouldn't use a method that took them 5 days to pass away from. And she has all this knowledge about insulin and what it can do to you. But she's so stupid that he lives for 5 more days. Again, it's the most genius idiot criminal we have here. On one side, she's so very smart, she chooses a murder weapon that's hard to trace. On the other side, she doesn't make sure he dies of it instantly. To me, it's just weird.
Yeah, and I don't think I don't see anything. Even if there was a different charge, I don't know how they put it in the hands of her injecting him with anything. So, I don't know. Because we have no idea if he did it himself. If he was truly using it himself.
Yeah. And again, everyone heard something. But we still didn't get that. I wanted that statement where I could put down and say, well, clearly he didn't use insulin himself, or we found the needles. And again, it's stuff we found months later. So I don't know. I know.
Wrestler's mom, I get it 100%, because it's like you have to put that in perspective too. This is someone's life. You're putting her away for life, and they better. That's why I'm so hard on the state most of the time. That's why I'm I'm a hard sell, because you have to really have the evidence for me to vote for somebody's life to be taken away.
We can be wrong, because publicly Bust, I had on during the 12 days of Christmas, believes that the circumstantial evidence is strong enough. And again, it's your perspective. And is the jury us, or is the jury publicly Bust? That's the thing. she has to hope that she gets us on the jury and not him. In other cases, it could be the other way around. And that's the funny thing about covering cases, because most times you're sitting here thinking, well, it's clear. And then Sue comes into chat and says, now, and then you can start
Just
discussing it a bit.
now.
It's yeah. Yeah, it was smart. They didn't investigate until months later how to do toxicology, etc. Yeah, yeah, you can take that, but it's also really stupid that she didn't kill him instantly. I'm just saying that. No, I'm not saying anything about air in a vein. That's easy. Did we get a clearer answer as to why the suspected murder? No, they started rummaging around in the financial case, and they found some messages that could indicate maybe, but they never showed those messages. They showed some other messages, but they claimed the messages that he showed it, but I couldn't see it, and I have a hard time with this case. I'll have to say it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I can see the negligence, but on that would have to include the neighbors and the cop for not taking him earlier to the hospital. But still, no one testified that he could survive if taken earlier. That's another thing. Normally, they would
Yeah,
have.
that's a good one, Betsy. To say, what did they call it? I forgot what they call it, but like, where, oh, well, you're gonna get in trouble because you could have saved his life.
Yeah, double or mandated reporter.
Well, they always
Yeah,
talk about
and some nurse could have misread his charts and thought, oh, his blood sugar is weird. I'm gonna give him some insulin. We don't know. He had benzos in his blood, which he was highly allergic to, which wasn't benzos, but was an antihistamine. I can't handle morphine. My system makes me really sick when I get morphine. I have still had, when I was supposed to get cortisol shots, I've had morphine shots instead to try and release the muscles in my back. Trust me, I know instantly if I got the wrong shot, because I can walk out of the doctor's office and I'll feel like I'll have to throw up if I get morphine. I have still been injected with it, and they say, oh, well, it works even better, but yeah, oh yeah, you're allergic to it. But I've had it, and we know incidents happens in hospitals and doctors' offices every single day. I need at least maybe not a smoking gun, but it still has to feel a little bit warm when you touch it.
Mhm.
I thought you did it until I heard about that bodybuilders using insulin to get better results. That's quite conflicting. But they have to bring someone on who can talk about that, because I can show you the. I just thought everyone knew that, but I'm a weirdo. I like to go to the gym. Insulin.
Honestly, I didn't really know that either. I mean, I know they do
This
a
is
lot
called-
of crazy things, but
This is called insulin for bodybuilders, effect, uses, and risks. Bodybuilding is an extreme sport. While some like to be natural, others turn to pharmaceuticals as anabolic, Jamie? Andronic? Anabolic,
you got it. That's what I say.
andronic steroids, and insulin. Though people traditionally use insulin only in medical context for diabetes, bodybuilders often exploit it for muscle building purposes. They use it to cause muscles to absorb nutrients quickly after a workout. This comes with a significant risk. This article details how some people use insulin in bodybuilding and describes the effects and potential serious side effects. This could be a good one to lose. Insulin, it's a peptide. Traditional use, diabetes. And then you have the short acting, you have the intermediate and long acting, and biphasic. It's a blend. Though people use it for blood sugar, high-level bodybuilders often use it for off-label purposes, including to promote muscle gains. Off-label purposes are those that aren't officially listed on the product label and recommended by healthcare professionals. Anabolism, the metabolic process of building up, is essential to packing on muscle. Bodybuilders often try to maximize this process. Considering that it promotes nutrient storage and helps prevent cell breakdown, insulin is considered an anabolic hormone. This lends it well to bodybuilding, in which the central purpose is to build up muscle mass through strategic diet and exercise. While insulin is best known for its role in controlling blood sugar, it has a few other notable effects. One side effect is its ability to help with muscle protein synthesis, the process through which the body builds muscle. A 2006 study in 19 healthy young adults concluded that when people receive intermediate doses of insulin, they had a boost in muscle protein synthesis and a decrease in muscle protein breakdown. A 2016 review suggested that insulin has a permissive role in the muscle building process as long as you eat enough protein. This means insulin allows muscle building to take place, even though it doesn't seem to directly promote it. It is important to note that sufficient amino acids, blah, 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 blah. Another important factor to consider is pairing of insulin with other performance-enhancing drugs such as anabolic, androgenic, steroids, or growth hormone. While insulin alone may not have a potent effect on muscle protein synthesis, it may have an enhanced effect while paired with anabolic steroids or growth hormone. Data in the area is limited. It promotes carbohydrate storage. People commonly consume carbohydrates after workout to refuel the exercise muscle for promoting glycogen replenishment. Glycogen is the stored form of carbohydrates in the body. It's stored in muscle cells as well as the liver. Ensuring sufficient glycogen stores help support the muscle building process by aiding the protein synthesis. To further enhance nutrient storage and muscle fullness after exercise, high-level bodybuilders sometimes use insulin to help shuttle blood glucose and amino acids into muscle cells. In the enhanced bodybuilding community, people usually take insulin only immediately after a workout to promote an anabolic state. While insulin is a hormone, injecting it comes with serious potential dangers. Low blood sugar. The main potential complication of using insulin is experienced low blood sugar known as hypoglycemia. They should just bring this article up tomorrow. Common symptoms: drowsiness, fatigue, hunger, irritability, paleness, shakiness.
I don't know why they didn't kind of research and do this stuff so they could have somebody talk about it.
Well, the defense should bring it up.
That's what I mean. Like, they should have prepared this a little better than just trying to ask random people, do you know you can take insulin for bodybuilding?
Yeah, but they.
And they're like,
I hope
"No."
I hope they use this.
Maybe the doctor that they're going to bring in.
Yeah.
Be able to talk about it.
But that just shows it's a well-known, it's been studied, and it's well known in the environment that you can use these two in combination to get better results. Biceps on a budget. Well, that's my biceps because I haven't been training properly the last long time.
Get on those glamour muscles, Baker. Come
I
on.
don't know. His buddies claimed he only did normal normal supplements. Normal supplements in a normal bodybuilder, at least in that age, would be protein powder, creatine, probably some zinc and magnesium, because that should be good for your testosterone level, and they help you sleep better so you can restore your energy better. So that would be the main takeaways. Then probably some, if he buys into the crap, he will take some BCAAs. Don't do that. You don't need it. Maybe some pre-workout as well. But that's what you normally take if you're working out, especially when you get a little bit older. Zinc and magnesium could be really good for you. They are both deadly drugs if you don't know what you're doing. Exactly. And if you are a bodybuilder who just want to get big and you don't know what's the difference between a milliliter and a centiliter, you can F up. Thank you. Thank you. What did he look like? Did he look like a bodybuilder? We have only seen him slumped on the floor, so I don't know. So not steroids. No, normally I don't use roids. I've never used roids. My mom was a lab technician, so I'm afraid of them because they can give you a lot of health problems. But it's becoming more normal in America right now that you have testosterone replacements. What do you call it? Replacement therapy or something like that, where you get microdoses of testosterone. So you elevate your testosterone level to a normal level of a younger man. It should be helpful for bone density and stuff like that. Just like women get hormones to stop osteoporosis and stuff like that. They have begun, but in Denmark, it's not really something you talk about. Or I think there's one clinic that offers that, but that will probably be something we see more, because the male menopause isn't really a thing we talk about, because normally when men gets their midlife crisis, we'll just find a 26-year-old and buy a convertible. But they are talking about to try and help us with staying fit longer, because we're living longer, so our skeleton should be better. We should probably be microdosing testosterone. So, but I've never taken it. I know a few people who taking it, but I don't know many bodybuilders. I mostly know strongmen, and they're not as weird as bodybuilders because they don't have to punish themselves by not eating as much. She looks sweet. She does. They also said he was a Spartan.
Holidays. So Valentine's Day is the next holiday.
They also said he was a Spartan athlete, so that's different than a bodybuilder. And then they said he was into strength sport. Again, it's totally different, but still, you would at his age, you would probably try some supplements.
I've seen pictures of him and her. Like, I don't know where I saw them. I think probably Court TV had like just pictures of them. I mean, he just looked normal. I don't know. I couldn't really tell. She looked that different.
Yeah. I have no midlife crisis. No. I'm crisis all the way, not just midlife. Take only calcium biotons, sour kiss. I don't know. I think some American football players are taking some sort of. Well, it's not unknown that professional athletes. Look at the muscle mass at some of your very, very famous 40-plus-year-old basketball athletes and think, that's amazing. They can keep that level of muscle mass on their body. They must really work out. So it's very highly used, but again, it's a very dangerous sport to do. Again, But we didn't see any paraphernalia either. But they didn't search the house till months later, and this lead detective never was in the house.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Jamie, it's 10:30.
Oh,
It's
we're
the
done.
time
I
to
totally
go
forgot
to
we're done.
bed.
Yes. Has to go.
Horse meat should be good for you.
Horse meat.
Yeah.
Come on with the fancy meats.
Oh yeah, look at Sylvester Stallone in his 70s with the amount of muscle mass he is also retaining. Some of that Hollywood chicken and broccoli. It's a good diet if you want it. So I'm just saying, if it quacks like a dog, it walks like a dog, it's probably on roids.
I thought you said it quacks like a dog.
A dog. Duck, 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 duck.
Oh
Jamie,
my
it's
goodness.
racism to notice my accent.
No, it's
Oh, okay. Okay. I love that. No, it's not.
not.
Jamie is that person that Rosa Parks should just get up and get to the end of the bus. This is my seat. Everyone, have a wonderful night.
Oh my gosh.
See you tomorrow, where the defense will try to disprove the state's case that almost 90% of us believe they didn't really prove.
Yeah.
Takula
Bye.
hasta.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100%
100%.
correct.
Objection, Your Honor.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love. Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.